Hard to believe it's been 3 weeks since we were up and about here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for Monday Night Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. But at long last, the intermission is over. The mid-semester break is done. Term 4 is upon us. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban and Adam Lavis with you. Welcome to night one of week one of term 4 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world, live and free for the next 3.5 hours. And I say that with the notion that we've got 30 minutes first up for our entree, and tonight we've got the first of 2 90-minute enduros in GT3. So we pick up exactly the way we left off as far as GT3 is concerned, with 1.5 hours of racing, and it comes to you from the Circuit de la South. So we've got famed venues right around the world tonight. We start in North America, we start in the USA, we start at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as our Spreyton Cider LMP2 Challenge moves from the entree slot on a Thursday night over to the entree slot on a Monday night as we get ready for 30 minutes of racing here. So, first things first, nice to have you along for the ride. If you need a reminder of what the new season looks like, we'll go through that for you in just a moment. But there is the grid for the Spreyton Cider LMP2 Challenge. Spreyton Cider sponsoring 2 categories again this season, but again, it'll be on 2 different nights of the week. So great to see that Spreyton's going to get a bit more of a run across the week than it has been. Matt Distill and Chris Noble on the front row here, the 2 title combatants from last season. They pick up exactly where they left off as well. Brendan Grosh is a new name to the grid, and Dylan Walker's alongside him. Joe Baldwin, Jake Jackson, Nick Fodiatis, David Christensen, Dave Oliver and David Baz make up the top 10. The 6th row of the grid in a rather depleted field, but we'll get to why in a moment. 6th row is Brett Bradbury, Dale Jeffrey. 7th row, Adam Proctor, Mark Cochran. 8th row, Mark Horton. And Eduardo Zamora. Guy Leach is a non-starter tonight. Adam Lavis, good evening to you. Let's firstly remind everybody what we're doing with regards to this schedule and what it looks like for the term ahead. So, last term we had Super 2 in this slot, running 25 minutes sprint races and a 45-minute mini enduro to get us to the checkered flag. This season will be weeks 1 to 9 30-minute heats, and then round 10 will up the clock to 45 minutes. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway first up, some of the greats of both sports car and world motorsports racing here tonight and throughout the course of the season. Formula One venues, IndyCar venues, sports car venues, you name it. We've got it. Indianapolis into the Circuit de Spa, Francorchamps, Barcelona, Catalunya. Then we go to the home of Petit Le Mans, off to the Red Bull Ring. Sebring gets Guernsey. Nick Fodiatis will be loving that. We won't see him on the grid in week 6. Week 7, the Watkins Glen Boot. Week 8, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Then on to Suzuka and Monza to finish us off. Mate, good evening to you. How was the break?
Yeah, never long enough. Always sort of catches up quick when you got a few things to do and you're like, oh, I want to have a relax today, and then I'll do it tomorrow, and then all of a sudden, no, can't do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's race day. So,
yeah.
You get some stuff, get everything done, and we're up and running again. So here we go.
And I think the other important thing to note is there might only be 17 drivers in this server, but we believe the GT3 fields are already stacked in practice mode for Le Mans.
Yeah, apparently already the servers for GT3 opened 5 minutes after this one, and already 80 plus people in over the 3 servers. So that's where everyone is at the moment. We've got a few just under 20 guys here. Have a bit of fun on these fast things, but we're about to get racing.
We are indeed. So, the LMP2 Challenge. I said we couldn't use Downforce Legends 2 nights this term. So the LMP2 Challenge is what this one has been named. Downforce Legends will remain with the Radical SR8s. They're off, they're racing. The new term, the new season is underway on the platform of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Matt Distill leads Chris Noble down to turn 1. Grosh and Walker are side by side. Grosh will hold the inside line. A little bit of movement further back. Fodiatis and Christensen, the 2 teammates, they're side by side, but Fodiatis holds on to 7th for the moment. Dylan Walker slots into 4th. A little bit of change down the back of the order. Up 2 spots, Eduardo Zamora. Everybody else in the plus and minus ones at the moment, except Brett Bradbury, who's broken into the top 10 from 11th on the grid. Good, clean start. Remember, of course, we are using the updated configuration of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. So this one runs anti-clockwise. Clockwise. The MotoGP configuration ran anti-clockwise, and the current configuration is a slight moderation as Noble bowls it wide, coming into the infield section at the end of the lap, and is about to lose second place to Brendan Grosh as a result, and that gives Matt Distill a nice little buffer and a bit of breathing space at the front of the field at the end of the opening lap. As far as lap times are concerned, it's a 30-minute race. The pole time was a 1 minute 16. So, I mean, the only other thing to consider here is the pit lane transit. Oh, geez, that's tight on the second lap, isn't it? Oh, gee, they are. You can tell that the whips are cracking from the very outset here, and you can tell that they're up and about and ready to go racing tonight. Everyone's had itchy feet the last week or so because it's been a 2-week break, and they're just happy to be going racing again. Nerves, energy, excitement. We talk about all of those factors on the opening night of the term. People, dusting off the cobwebs, etc., and so forth. You'll see all of those elements here. But Matt Distill has opened up a 3-second advantage at the top of the train. Grosh has got his way to second, but Noble will look to get that back somewhere along the line here. Has gapped Dylan Walker. Joe Baldwin a good start from El Presidente, holding on to 5th. Jake Jackson and Nick Fodiatis 6th and 7th. Good to see Nick having a run in LMP2. Yes, it's been 2 weeks, but it's been a busy 2 weeks, particularly the first week for our club members, of course, as Nick Fodiatis now moves into 6th place, having got by Jake Jackson. Here comes Dave Oliver down Jackson's inside as well on the run down to turn 1. Jackson does go for a dive, and Oliver muscles him out wide. Oh, they're both on the grass. Fodiatis and Jackson have both made a mistake at turn 1. So Jake Jackson was trying to go deep to cover off the attack, the assault of Dave Oliver, and it's blown up in his face. Oh, geez. And now they're squabbling for positions outside the top 10. Oliver got up to 6th in all of that. Jackson back to 10th. Scott Proctor on his clacker at the moment. Darryl Jeffrey, Nick Fodiatis and Eduardo Zamora are in behind him. So it's interesting. Jackson, following Fodiatis, went further wide off the racetrack. Did Fodiatis than Jackson. So both of them making a mistake. The pressure of Dave Oliver too much. Oliver was trying to go the inside. Jackson the outside. Now, the reason he would have been trying to hold it there, Adam Lavis, is because the next corner is a left-hander. He would have had the inside line, but it doesn't do you any justice at all when you find the grass.
There's a couple went deep there, and there's big consequences when there's a big train of cars behind you. So everyone had to sort themselves back into a new groove, and finally, the thing with this car, surprisingly, given it's a more of a ground effect car, it doesn't really have much of a slipstream effect. So you'd think to be a lot more run down at turn 1. But the slipstream isn't that strong on these cars, unfortunately. So it kind of hampers the sprint racing a little bit, but it just means you've got to be more focused on trying to set people up for moves rather than just rely on a toe down to a corner.
And I mean, it's nice that we've been able to accommodate them in a slot, but these are not traditionally sprint race machines.
No, they're endurance type vehicles. So like half-hour races is baby food to those, just easily chewed up and spit out. But it is still one of those things. It is a fun, fast car. So the fact that you don't have to worry about looking after tyres or fuel or anything like that, you just basically go and give them a go as hard as you can. As David Baz makes a move on David Christensen, it can have its pros and cons.
Yep. And Baz will try and hold that around the outside on Christensen to put himself on the inside for the run down the main straight, and does so. Very nice. So, we're up and about, we're away. Term 4 on the platforms of the GSRC. The finish line is in sight for 2024. Of course, David Christensen, whoa, standing on the gas. That's going to put him under pressure on the exit of 2. There goes Jake Jackson to 9th. Mistakes this early in the race when everybody's bunched up. So costly. Christensen wide again on the exit of turn 4. And we'll lose out to Adam Proctor as a result. When it rains, it pours. So yes, yeah, we go. We want everybody to know that I said off the top, 3.5 hours tonight. We don't say that as an estimate. We say that knowing full well that it's an enduro night, and we've got to strap in and buckle up and go along for the long haul on the ride. That will be 90 minutes around the Circuit de la Sarthe tonight. It's going to be interesting because the new McLaren will make its debut on our platforms, and we're hugely excited about that. It'll be interesting to see what the uptake is on that as well. Also, a question that lobbed into my inbox today, what car is Matty Dench going to run this season? All will be revealed very shortly as he goes out in pursuit of title number 12. Still, Grosh, Noble at the front of the field. Down on the inside, no, David Baz couldn't move on the inside of Brett Bradbury and take 7th. He slots back into 8th for the moment. I didn't even get to mention lap count around here. Early guesstimations from me, given it's 1 minute 16.008 is the fastest lap of the race. That was that mistake for Fodiatis, and Jackson went out in sympathy, but Fodiatis had a bigger invoice to pay with the slowdown because he took to the grass and cut the corner, whereas at least Jackson made an attempt to rejoin the circuit at turn 2. Fodiatis rejoined closer to turn 3. So Jackson, in the end, yes, he lost a little bit of ground. Oh, and he'll gain a spot there too. He lost a little bit of ground originally, but he actually gained on Fodiatis. He was trying to fend off Oliver, who was trying to get by both of them, and they all played musical chairs momentarily. Brett Bradbury moves up to 9th. Adam Proctor to 10th. David Christensen slips back to 11th. Will there be a quick splash and dash here, Adam Lavis? Or is this a flat-out sprint race?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure they're using a similar fuel to last season. Oh, hang on. Bradbury's locked the rears. It's very easy to do in this car because as you slow the car down, that downforce just bleeds off, and once you get down to that second and first gear sort of area, if you still got that same brake pressure on, those rear brakes will not take that load.
If iRacing were to allow Matty Dench to attempt to drive the circuits in reverse, I'd tune in to watch that. And by which we mean reversing around the track in the right direction of the circuit, not running the wrong way like some of us would do just to get a safety car in a Formula 1 game, for instance. Dale Jeffries 12th, having been passed there by Nick Fodiatis on the comeback trail. So yes, with regards to the lap counter, my guess is 23, 1 minute 16.008, the fastest lap of the race for Matt Distill. Those times not being matched at the moment, 16.6 last time by. So every second you lose there is, in a 30-minute race, a minute 15 would be 24 laps. So you take a couple of seconds away, you add a pit transit in, my guess is that we'll hit 23 laps. And Josh Zuno tells us that it's a 55% fuel tank, so 27 to 28 minutes of fuel. So there could be some merit in fuel saving tonight, in which case there would be no pit lane transit, and in which case there would be a 24th lap guaranteed almost. The other unknown entity in all of this is exactly how much of that fuel tank was burnt on the opening full lap formation, warm-up lap. Now, normally we have a quarter or half lap or something like that. We often do a full lap in these cars, and therefore, yes, if you've been able to save the juice on that lap and save a little bit more throughout the course of the race, maybe you can do a Denchi and get home without stopping. But we'll find out the answer to that a little bit clearer in a few moments' time. Lap 8 is done. We're at the 10.25 minute mark of a race. We're off to France a little bit later on, folks. And we're looking forward to Le Mans for 90 minutes. Always a treat when we go sports car racing on a Monday night. It's a double dose. LMP2 into GT3. And
I was about to correct Josh there.
I was going to say, thanks for the stitch up, Josh. Well done.
I just calculated this. I was like, no, it's 23 minutes. Ah, there we go.
Copy. So, okay, let's rule out anyone fuel saving 6 minutes plus the 4 minutes of the formation lap.
And this car is sort of very similar to the Super Formula Light car, where it's not an easy car to save a lot of fuel. You can save a little bit, but it's not gonna you're not gonna be able to get laps.
So let's say that we're in the window in which you could pit and get home. There's no
definitely
qualms about that, but no one's taken the bait to go early.
Well, given this is probably I would say has to be the longest pit lane in the service. It's like it's a 45-second transit time just to go through the lane, let alone whatever else you're doing. So we'll see how it goes.
Indeed, we will. Mate just still leads from the front. He leads by nearly 4 seconds on Chris Noble, who is behind Dylan Grosh at the moment. So Grosh has done well. New name for me. We talk about members coming and going and joining the club all the time. Brendan Grosh is a new name for mine. Good to see him having a run. Dale Jeffries off the road, coming into the little stadium section here towards pit entry. Oh dear, did well.
Eduardo there,
behind him, Eduardo Zamora will avoid him.
Little quick lift there by Eduardo. Go around.
The anchors. Yep.
Another battle of the Daves.
Oliver and Baz. Lane Thoburn, who is a name familiar to us, would normally be either in the server or on the track, tuning in tonight. Nice to have you on, mate.
Yeah, he'd be supporting his team brethren in Chris Noble.
Absolutely. Now, just a heads up to everybody as well. A little bit later on, Jake Jackson has slid off the road. He's rejoined the circuit, but this is a monster moment for him. Coming into the stadium section.
Yeah, the rear brakes again.
To the grass. Oh dear, second time tonight that he's found the grass. And this time around, he does what Nick did first time around.
That'll probably give him a slowdown because there's so much track though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. Pit Proctor for Chris Stark. Very nicely done. Adam Proctor sitting in 8th at the moment, up 5 spots. Biggest mover of the night, 3 each for Oliver and Baz. Then, of course, you go back. Eduardo Zamora is up 4. Down 4, Jake Jackson, Nick Fodiatis through their separate mistakes. Down 3 for Brett Bradbury through his spin that you've already seen. And Dale Jeffries down 4 as well.
So with this car, it's got a little bit of an LED system. So there's an LED light bar above the windscreen there. The drivers can pick whatever colour they like. It's defaulted on blue with the fixed setup, but the drivers can change it if they so choose. Numbers on the lights on the side of the car next to the number there. So we've got Chris Noble there with 3 lights. Those 3 lights represent he's in 3rd place. So if you get up to Brendan, he's got 2 lights. He's in 2nd place, and Distill's got 1 light being in 1st place. So that's the way the lights work in LMP2.
Right on board with David Baz. On the run down to turn 1, chasing Dave Oliver. Remember, it is a tricky track to master. There are some good legitimate overtaking opportunities around here, but maybe not necessarily in these cars. However, David Baz trying to set it up on the inside to get by Dave Oliver and was unable to do so. So that again highlights the point, because Oliver was able to hold it around the outside of 4 for the left-hander, the switchback chicane at 5 and 6.
It was a good
little scrap, this one.
It was a good little attempt there. He probably would have caught Dave napping there if he pulled it off.
Let us know how your break was, ladies and gentlemen, how you spent it. I mean, we had a 2-week break. It feels like we haven't at all because, well, I did 3 broadcasts in week 11. We had one event that was rescheduled from the global tech outage. Whoa! Oh! That's trouble for David Baz.
He's got caught out there. It's
an enormous amount of trouble for David Baz.
So he's too focused on the car ahead. And he's gone to the pit lane. That's caught Baz out because Baz probably wasn't planning on going to the pit lane. Now he has. Now the question is, will iRacing think him for a bad pit entry there? So he probably would have been better off avoiding that just to be safe. So now he may have a penalty now because of that. So we'll have to wait and see.
So Dave Oliver's the first one to pull the trigger and come to pit lane. We were wondering when it would happen. 16 minutes into the race. Oh dear. No, it certainly wasn't a 2-week break for us at committee level or those of us in commentary land either, folks. Of course, we had the Super Formula Light Inter Club Challenge on the first Wednesday of week 11. The Indy 500 rescheduled, of course, pushed back a week because we had to slide Austria in after the Global Tech IT outage of July. I commentated the Logitech Bathurst 1000 on the Sunday of that week. So it really only gave us 7 days to play with in terms of having a break. But then I got drafted in for a Real World Motorsport commitment over the weekend. So it was a case of no break at all, no rest for the wicked. So bad news. Real World stuff continues this weekend because I'm off to Taree. Bad news for David Baz.
He's still in there.
He's still on pit road. So that is, he's not done. 49 seconds later. It was a 24-second stop for Dave Oliver. So that's a 25-second invoice that David Baz has copped.
That's interesting. That's a very different number for our racing give a penalty for. That's not a. Normally you do 40 seconds, but that's a. Unless Dave Oliver's also stuffed up to put tyres on. So we'll wait and see what the other guys do for their stops.
True. We'll find out. Chris Bleakley just saying that he might see me in Taree this weekend. Yeah, mate, I'm looking forward to going down there. So Dale Jeffries having another spin. That particular corner has been a talking point tonight. It's caught a few people out. Here's Brendan Grosh on that note. Here they come. No takers for pit lane just yet. They turn left and head round onto the main straight once more. So Karting Australia New South Wales had their annual state championships up the road in Port Macquarie over the weekend just gone. Karting New South Wales, remember there's still that great divide in New South Wales karting at the moment. The whole Super League, NRL, ARL vibes going on there. Karting New South Wales have theirs second state championship meeting for the categories that didn't run in Wagga in April in Taree this weekend at the Manning Valley Kart Club. I'm heading down on Wednesday to catch up with a friend. Thursday night Motorsport will come to you from Taree because said friend works until 9:30, so I can get away with it. And then, that's Dale Jeffries off the road as well. And then out to the Manning Valley Kart Club on Friday. I'm looking forward to that immensely. Great racing across Saturday, Sunday. Keep an eye on their Facebook socials too, folks. Manning Valley Kart Club, Karting New South Wales for the timetable and the entry lists and all that sort of stuff. And I'll have live coverage on Facebook of the finals on Sunday.
So it looks like David Christian's answered that question for us. He did a 9.5-second stop, which is exactly 40 seconds less than David Baz. So it's safe to say that Dave Oliver's also shot himself in the foot to put tyres on. So
that would be first. Well, see, I think we need to make some new Zach Bingo shirts, and I think we need to add some boxes to it and award Dave Oliver the first pit lane cock-up of the season. Unfortunately for him, it impacts his race rather significantly now. He drops down to 15th. He'll go past Dale Jeffries and Eduardo Zamora by virtue of the fact that those guys were far behind him on the racetrack before that pit lane transit, but he's gifted them some time there in terms of pegging back that deficit. David Christensen's the last car on the lead lap at the moment, but that should balance out as well once all these guys have transited the lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Joe Baldwin to pit lane, the latest taker to pit road. So, and Jake Jackson off the road. Another one. Third of the night for Jake Jackson and on the tow rope, so that's a baddie. Jake Jackson is done. On lap 16, this is how. Uh-oh. Let's have a look at this. Down to turn 1. And he's just gone straight on. Oh dear. And that was the point of the night where he said, you know what, I've had a gutful. Unfortunate. In the meantime, Chris Noble. Now, this is interesting. Chris Noble has got by Brendan Grosh and Dylan Walker has done the same. So what's going on here for Brendan Grosh? Uh-oh. Exactly the same as 3 or 4 before him. They'll come back onto the main straight and cross the start-finish line, and watch Dylan Walker here capitalise on that poor run. Because Walker found his way by Grosh as well. So Noble, by virtue of the incident coming into that final sequence of corners, and Walker.
Oh, no, Dylan's actually made the same mistake.
Oh, jeez. He's done it at turn, yeah.
So
yeah, wow.
I think he might have overheated the rears in that first lock-up, and he's pushed too hard, and he's got the slides on.
Jeez.
But he'll cool them off and get it going again, so he'll be right.
Of course he will. Mark Horton's on pit lane now. So too Matt Distill. So too Chris Noble. So too Dylan Walker. Whoa!
Noble was wide.
Sorry, Noble is on pit road, but he's lost a little bit of time there to Dylan Walker, and Walker's going to leap him into pit lane.
And also, Noble was also wide on the entrance, so he's in the grass in the entrance of pit lane, so whether he gets another penalty as well, we'll have to wait and see whether iRacing's that harsh.
This could be a race-defining moment here. Ooh, everyone except Nick Fodiatis from the top 7 has come to pit lane. Still waiting to see what Brett Bradbury and Mark Cochran do. They'll be the last 2. These are the defining moments of the car race. 7.5 minutes to go. It's 6 laps to home. Gone. See you later.
Yep, Noble's safe.
Distill's safe. That's fine. He comes through.
Dylan Walker, though.
Noble's fine. Grosh is fine. Dylan Walker, however, is done.
He might have cut the inside on the way in.
And Dylan Walker's out of the fight. Can you believe that? The second pit lane penalty of the night. Dylan Walker's charge is done, and all of a sudden, as Distill has a look at Cochran here, don't have to worry too much about Cochran because he's still got to stop. Fodiatis is 19 seconds up the road, but he too also still has to stop. Distill has managed to come in and out without losing any time at all to the rest of the chasing pack. Uh-oh. Dylan Walker. Maybe they weren't happy with this little bit of showmanship against Chris Noble.
Maybe because he may have touched the yellow cone on his screen, which may have given him an unsafe entry.
40, what was it? 8.77 seconds. Are you kidding me? Cochran to pit lane, Fodiatis to pit lane, field is cleansed. Now, all of a sudden, the battles on the track in the top 3 at least are non-existent. You have to go outside the top 10 to have a look at Brett Bradbury, Eduardo Zamora and Dylan Walker all arguing over the same piece of real estate. Walker will be desperate to try and get his way back into the 10, but will have to get by Zamora and Bradbury to do so. Proctor's all over the back of Christensen like a cheap suit. Fodiatis and Cochran are on pit road, and that's it. That is it. As far as on-track battles are concerned. So it's a relatively quiet end to Monday night at the Brickyard. Oh, what about that from Walker? Around the outside. No holds barred. No proverbials given. Very nice. Good send. That could be a contender for one of the moves of the season, and it's only night 1. Walker by Zamora. Next target, Bradbury. They're both back in the top 10 now with Cochran having pitted. Fodiatis has got back out in 7th. Jake Jackson, the only retirement thus far. We're on lap 19. Distill's coming to the line with 4 laps to go. So I was bang on with 23. It's a good start of the season. You can tick your Zach Bingo box on your bingo card off. The Zaculator, as so many of our club members would refer to it. 23 gets us home tonight. That's good. Gives us a fair idea or a fair indicator of what we're playing with for the rest of the season. Brett Bradbury. Oh, he's banked up. He's got tangled up with Dylan Walker. Walker on his way through is giving him a nudge, giving him a touch. Not necessarily a love tap, but still Sounds as though it was unintentional. And Bradbury concedes. He loses ground as a result of all of that. Drops behind Horton, Cochrane, Zamora, and Walker. Oh boy. No doubt a little bit of red mist has descended on Dylan Walker and he would have been driving frustrated, but that looked as though it was completely accidental on his part. Coming up on, with no disrespect to Brett Bradbury, a slower car. I would say that, and we'll have a look at it with the replay in just a moment, I would say that Dylan Walker's just got on the throttle, a tenth or two earlier than Bradbury, and that's all she wrote. Unlucky. Adam Lavis, talk us through it.
He's just a little bit. He was sort of thinking ahead there. He was trying to get that run to get that move, and it's just mistimed it. It's just mistimed it, and Brett's car was still there. His idea, it was one of those things where you preempt an idea and sometimes it doesn't come off.
Indeed. Disappointing so far for a couple of contenders. Brett Bradbury, one of them tonight. Certainly hasn't gone according to plan for David Baz, for Jake Jackson, or for Dylan Walker. It'll be interesting to see what race control have to say about that one. Greg Favell's in there at the moment for us. There's someone that I hope to see back on the track on a Wednesday night now that the supercars are there. By the way, folks, if you want to know what the slate of the lay of the land is as far as the offering of this term is concerned, stick around. We'll run through that very quickly before we get going with GT3. We're in the final few minutes here. It'll be 2 minutes at the line. Matt Distill's on his penultimate lap. We're on our way home at the Brickyard. There are only 2 battles on the circuit. One is David Baz on Dale Jeffries. That's what we're looking at for the last of the runners. Oh, Baz had to get out of it. Gone through a couple of rejigs, the road course section of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway since it debuted on the Formula One World Championship calendar back in 2000. That last sector is, there's 2 portions of the last sector that have gone through a little bit of a tweak and tune. But it does offer up some good racing. Distill and Noble will come to the line and get the white flag next time by, which means for Baz and Jeffries, it's 2 laps to go. Baz will need to get the run here if he's a chance of getting by Jeffries. Oh no, Brett Bradbury's off the road again, this time at turn 1, and he needs to get out of there because he's about to be caught by Jeffries and Baz. Oh boy, another sting in the tail. A chance here now for Baz and Jeffries. 13th could be there for the taking. They're still 3 seconds away from Bradbury, but they've just closed a significant amount on that. Taken a huge chunk out of the deficit. Back straight for the final time. Matt Distill. Somewhat picking up exactly where he left off, you could say. Noble won the championship, but Distill was the benchmark for much of the term. He missed a couple of outings through other commitments, and that proved to be the difference in the end. Noble didn't have the best run at Daytona, but still did enough to wrap up the championship.
Before Distill, he had two actual drop rounds where he was away, and then he had one actual round where he had a bad round.
He had a shocker.
And that's and then he couldn't quite close that gap back to Noble by the end of the season.
Last turn, checkered flag, clock expires, only 10 seconds into overtime. Matt Distill, Barbecue Motorsport, on fire at the Brickyard. 5 seconds to the good of the defending champion Chris Noble, Brendan Grosh in 3rd, Joe Baldwin 4th, and David Christensen, despite a couple of hiccups along the way, found his way back to 5th. We'll hold off Adam Proctor. Nick Fodiatis is going to come home 7th, ahead of Dave Oliver. Long gaps then back to Dylan Walker, Eduardo Zamora, Mark Cochrane, Mark Horton, David Baz, Brett Bradbury, and Dale Jeffries. First entree of the season done. First entree of the term in the can. And let's hope that a few more cars make their way onto the grid in the weeks and months ahead. Because we need a little bit more lively activity than that to get us fired up for GT3, I think. That was not the most action-packed LMP2 race we've ever seen. But it wasn't without its moments and drama. So Matt Distill gets the job done. Clinical in the end. Led from the front, from pole position to the checkered flag, and now heads to pit lane to park it in victory lane. Well done, mates. 4.878 to the good. Then back to Brendan Grosh, Joe Baldwin, David Christensen, Adam Proctor. Nick Fodiatis was 7th, a lucky spot for him in the end. Not sure. Did drop down the order a bit and then ended up finishing exactly where he started. Then back to Dave Oliver, Dylan Walker, and Eduardo Zamora. Walker, Baz, Bradbury, Jeffries, and Jackson all dropped down the order. Jackson was the only retirement of the night. Eduardo Zamora rounded out the top 10. Mark Cochran, Mark Horton, David Baz, Brett Bradbury, Dale Jeffries, Jake Jackson, the field. 16 starters, 15 finishers. And biggest mover of the night, Adam Proctor, up 7 spots. Well done. From IndyCars to LMP2, Nick Fodiatis is about to join us, and so to El Presidente. We've got the big guns, ladies and gentlemen, the heavyweights of the GSRC, joining us first, cab off the rake for our first post-race show of the term. And looking forward to having a chat to these two gentlemen, but I'm going to start, with all due respect, with the race winner, Matt Distill. Mate, very good evening to you. Great to have you and Spreyton Cider back on board this season, and great to have LMP2 back on the calendar, albeit in an abbreviated format in a new time slot. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. It was you and Noble that brought us to green. It was Noble and you that were 1 and 2 in the championship at the end of last term, and you got one up on him to start the new term as you go in pursuit of his number 1.
Hey mate, yeah, it's nice to be back. Yeah, again, Chris and myself, I don't think there's anything between us week in, week out. And I'm not sure what happened to him on the opening lap there, but certainly him dropping back to 3rd there initially relieved the pressure somewhat for that race, you know, being able to just build that gap and then managing it. But yeah, no, perfect way to start the season off for sure.
And nice as well, mate, because, I mean, you've picked up exactly where you left off a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I guess the only saving grace for you is that it was a dry day in the United States, because we had our fair share of wet weather last term.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It was a relatively wet championship last year. I think I had a look at all of the races for this one. I think there's really only one which is definite rain, and that's Suzuka towards the end. So looking a lot drier this time. So I fully expect that Chris and myself are going to be just nose to tail wherever we go for this championship.
Indeed. Let's chuck the schedule back up on the screen if we can, Adam Lavis. What are your thoughts on, you've just mentioned Suzuka, Matt, but as far as the rest of the calendar is concerned, there are some very iconic racetracks on this list.
Yeah, I mean, this track list is perfect for these cars, and some fantastic tracks as well. I'm really looking forward to it all. Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic.
And just quickly, I mean, it's been 2.5 weeks since we caught up with you. How have you spent the time off, and how much sim time have you had getting ready for the new term?
Yeah, well, we were actually, me and my mate, we were lucky enough to win the Indy 6 Hour in the LMP2s in the time slot we ran. So, you know, that was really nice. And, you know, obviously week 13 was just a muck around week, something fun to do. And, yeah, just been working away and hanging out with the family.
So essentially, the 6 hours of the Brickyard here was just a training run for tonight for you.
Oh, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. No, yeah, that was really good, really good fun, that 6 hour, and you know, to come back here, it was you know, the speed that we showed there obviously translated into tonight, which was nice.
Indeed, it did, mate. I mean, obviously, when we look at the schedule here, looking forward to next week already. I mean, Spa-Francorchamps, when you think big sports car races, you think places like the Brickyard, Daytona, Sebring, and then Spa as well. Great to see what these things do around that circuit. We get that opportunity next week for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and with the long straights and everything there, that the drafting's going to be absolutely insane going up through Eau Rouge and then down towards the next couple of corners there. So no, I'm really looking forward to it. I think draft is going to be key, and also I think the fuel saving side of things with that strategy element's going to play a big role as well.
Indeed. Now, before we let you go, the move to Monday night. I mean, you're here, you're front and centre, but we've got to get a few more mates on the line, on the grid, I would imagine. I mean, 17's a modest turnout to start.
Yeah, I know. We saw this sort of trend down as well at the end of the tail end of the last season as well. It'd be nice to see some more numbers, but I think realistically, if we can get back over 20 towards the 25 mark, that'd be good. The track layout is all. The track list is certainly there to provide the incentive to go racing, and you know, Monday nights being the appetizer before the main games and the GT3s and stuff. Yeah, why wouldn't you be in this?
And on that subject, what else are we going to see you jump behind the wheel of this term? We know that these are your forte, but what else?
You know, if I can get a Thursday night off, or is it Wednesday? Whichever night has the NASCAR trucks, Wednesday
on track. Yeah.
If I can get a Wednesday night off there, I think they'll be an absolute blast. So.
Excellent, good to see. The other thing is, the first thing we think of when we think of these cars is endurance. How do you get them, you know, firing on all cylinders and going for just 30 minutes, mate? Because really, that's half a stint for these guys normally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same as any other car, though, isn't it? It's just flat out, and you just you try and put a qualifying lap in every single lap, rather than, you know, you're driving at the 95% that you would in an enduro. So, you know, it's fast, it's frenetic, and yeah, very good fun.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Congratulations. As you say, the race fell into your lap pretty much when you had a 3-second lead on the second lap. But it's one thing to have that. It's another to go on with it and use it to your advantage. One small slip up, and we saw a few of them tonight. A couple of pit lane penalties issued. A couple of drivers having trouble with that last sequence of corners coming onto the main straight. And all would have changed. But no, it was a clean run from you. Like clockwork. Very nicely done. You are the benchmark for the new term, the one to catch. Go well.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, did I? I apologise.
I got to a couple of drivers having drive-throughs.
Yes, a couple of drivers had drive-throughs, and then did I cut out for anybody else?
No.
No. Okay, it was just Matt's end. Okay, cool. Because I'm sitting here thinking, oh crap, what are we at? You know, what are we in for? Because we have had rain around. Is there a storm? I don't know. No. Nice. Nice way to give me a fright on a Monday night, Matt. No, you had a couple of drivers fall foul of pit lane penalties. Quite a few had trouble with the stadium section of the circuit at the end of the lap, that last sequence of corners, the right, left, right. But it's one thing to put it on pole position. It's another to go on with it. That was 30 minutes of consistency from you, and more where that came from for the rest of the season, no doubt. Go well for the rest of the night.
No, thanks very much, Zach, and yeah, thanks again to the GSRC to putting these cars on. So, yep, see you all next week. Thanks.
And thanks to you for coming on board and supporting not just the club, but also the championship as well. No doubt, Matty Distill was front and centre saying, listen, we need these LMP2 cars on the grid, and Spreyton Ciders there if you put them on. So, hey, we listen to the feedback, we listen to the advice, and we also listen to the sponsors. Joe Bulber, Nick Vodiatis, welcome to you. Hey, Nick, I took one look at this calendar and I thought I won't be seeing you in week 6.
I don't even know what week 6 is.
Your favourite.
I'm gonna guess it's Sebring, so yes. Yeah, probably not.
Talk us through that, mate, because you had one little moment at turn 1, but you managed to rectify that and get back to where you started.
Yeah, look, the Bailey Ladders team was not too bad tonight. Qualified in the top half, and it's always my goals. Qualifying's always a bit of a struggle for me, so yeah, it was doing all right. Forgot the cadence brake down here and get off the brake pedal to avoid running off the road, and then I fell back and just trapped. Lap times are similar to the guys around me, so I couldn't make ground on them or couldn't pull away kind of thing, so I just had to wait. So then my second goal was to lead a lap, which I did get, so I'm happy with that one. So at least I got to see some form of a clear road. But yeah, once the cars are so close, obviously the front guys were close, and then the rest of us were close. And even just trying to make a pass. So this was the second attempt I had at passing. I've forgotten who that was. But the first time through, we made contact, and I had to apologise about that because didn't get down far enough. But the cars are the same, the lap times are the same, and it's you've got to look after the machinery to try and make some passes. And as you can see, the nose has been rearranged on that one as well.
Indeed. Let's just quickly cover off a couple of things here. You took company with you at turn 1 when you bowled a wide there. Jake Jackson went out in sympathy. It was a case of, at the time, you were trying to fend off him. He was trying to fend off Dave Oliver, and both of you missed the mark. I think he just followed you.
I was looking forward because my hands were quite full at the time, so I didn't see anything that happened in the mirror. Here we go.
Replay, mate. Here we go. So there's Jackson, there's Oliver, and Jackson's followed you. Whoa, jeez. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
And even Dave was close to running off the road, actually, on replay. Oh,
apparently, it's a popular thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, lost what 5, 6, 7 spots there or something, and then you're trapped in a lap time. I guess I don't know what the best word is for it. You're just trapped in a lap time zone. You can't do anything. There's no real
No.
There's no mega top speed in these things, which would help. But yeah, you're just trapped. You just got to do the best that you can. And I even said it to the boys. I said, bugger this. I'm not getting through this. I'm just gonna have to save some fuel.
And that's easier said than done when the tank lasts about 80% race distance. So we knew that there was going to be a little bit of a splash and dash required there. Quickly,
hey, but it got me that an extra lap over everybody else, and I got to lead a lap, so I was happy with that.
You did, yeah, absolutely. And you got back to 7th, so I mean, no damage done essentially. Talk me through the rest of the calendar, with the exception of Sebring, because we know what you think about that. But the rest of the calendar, there are some really good tracks on this schedule that'll suit these cars, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they go around them.
Well, Sebring's almost the polar opposite of what we just had. I was saying to the boys in the Discord, it's really silky smooth around here, and you can crash the curves on the chicane leading onto the back straight. But as we know, Sebring being built in marshland and the like, it's all going to be wavy and bumpy. As for the European part of the tour at the start, that's going to be fun. Really, the only one I always seem to have trouble with is Waddy's boot. Other than that, the others are really good fun. The crashing of the curbs at Gilles Villeneuve is going to be important. And Suzuka, that's going to be lots of fun as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
All right, mate, very nicely done. What else is going to keep you busy throughout the course of the term, please? We know that you'll be involved either in commentary or race control or something with Friday night. But when else are you going to go racing?
Wednesday night. I have to do the early ones, Zach, because they're going into that daylight savings thing, and it's just going to put us out too late. And I've got early mornings on Wednesdays and Thursdays as well. So, yeah, I just have to stick with the early ones.
Well,
so yeah, definitely in that track.
Hang on. To be fair, right, hang on. Let's just back up a moment here. First things first, for those of you tuning in at home, if you're looking at a map of Australia, it makes a lot more sense this week than what it will this time next week in terms of our time zones. AEST broadcast times for this week, AEDT from next week. But your point is somewhat forward because you're here, not there. So, I mean, those main course races are going to be at 8 o'clock, not 9 o'clock.
Still, I try not to do the late ones. I'd like to do the early ones, but yes, definitely the NAS trucks. That's I've been hanging out for that.
Yep.
Some of the tracks are a little bit on the tight side, and it's going to be very interesting. I think the yellow flag will be out on those ones, but things like Bristol and the like, they're going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Indeed, they are.
And finishing, climaxing with Daytona as well. There could be some bump drafting action or people getting spun at the front of the field and taking out the rest of us. But we'll see what happens. It's all in the name of fun, and it's all safe as well.
Liam Banks is going to be flying the flag from the broadcast booth on those nights with Sam Chapman on Wednesdays this term. More on that in just a moment. Hey, Nick, thank you. Go well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we've already, is that what, twice now we've already mentioned it this week or this evening? We've only been on air, 45 minutes. Yes, this is the last week of the year for our friends in the Sunshine State, the alleged Sunshine State of Queensland. Adam Lavis was talking to Josh Zuno and I just before we got on air, and I said, don't worry, we've already started winding our clocks back. We'll be right. 112 years to be exact. Joe Baldwin, speaking of people that are running a little bit behind the clock, but it makes a lot more sense over in Bunbury and Western Australia. It makes a lot more sense on the West Coast than what it does the Eastern Seaboard, mate. Good evening to you. Welcome to the new term. Good way to start for you, a top 5 finish.
Yeah, completely unexpected too. It's not a car that I'm generally good in. I certainly didn't have the pace of the front-running guys, which actually included Dylan Walker. I think he must have got a pit lane penalty, which sort of dropped him down to the back of the top 10, which was unfortunate for him. But it was just about managing the tyres. I think I fried the rear tyres off it towards the end of the race, and I had my Bailey Lattice teammate and Dave Christensen breathing down my neck by the end of it. But it was a lot of fun, though. I did enjoy it.
3 Bailey Ladder cars on the grid, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We had a chat about it this afternoon. I just said, well, I'm doing it, and Dave said, I'm doing it, and Nick was keen. So we thought Josh might have joined in, but he's I think he might be busy with family.
He's going to jump in on a couple of occasions, I'm sure.
Yeah,
throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, he will do. He won't be able to stay away from Road Atlanta, that's for sure. He's got a handle on this car around there, but. I'm actually looking forward to this season. I'm actually going to try and run this, obviously work permitting, so long as I'm home in time.
Yes.
I'll be running this. I probably won't run the GT3s because I suck in them, but there's some great tracks on the schedule. Like I really can't wait for Road Atlanta, Red Bull Ring, Gillies Villeneuve. It's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be because this thing's got such a tall first gear in it. Like you get into the hairpins at Gillies, and it's going to be about being able to roll the centre of the corner really well and keep momentum up so you can get it off the corner, because that first gear, when you get them slow, they're like an old J go-kart. They just before they get going. But I mean, Suzuka's going to be mental in these, and Monza. So it's a great lineup for this series for the car.
Indeed it is, and we're looking forward to it immensely. What's been keeping you busy during the break, mate? 2 weeks has come and gone very quickly. It was only a week and a half, really, for those of us that were here for the Indy 500.
Yeah, that and the Open Wheel Nationals that Sam Chapman took out, which was great for the club. But no, look, just work. Work's been taken up for me, and organising stuff with the house we're about to build and stuff like that. So plenty going on in the background here. So I just try to find time, set up the servers, and get a bit of real life stuff to keep the wife tickets present for this season, I guess.
Yeah, keep the
happy wife,
intact.
happy life. Yeah,
keep them in the plus, not the negative. Yeah. Now, Naz, I take it that the NASCAR trucks are up your rally as well, Joe. But what else this term?
This term, I'm going to go and run Porsche again. Probably, look, it's work at the moment. It's sort of gotten quite busy. So hopefully I can get home in time. I'd love to run the full season of these. Obviously, the NASCARs I want to run. If I'm home early enough, I'll do the introductory formula especially with the Skippies. I love that car. So.
Yep.
But yeah, probably the NASCARs, the Porsche, and the V8s as well. And I'm broadcasting on Friday night again with Nick and possibly yourself with the SR8. So looking forward to that as well. So still going to be busy, still going to be around, but probably won't race as much as what I have done in previous seasons. But I'll probably stick to this the introductories and the NASCARs and a bit of supercar.
I know there's a few Friday nights in which I'm a definite out this term, but I'll let you know my availabilities, mate, and I'll make sure that I'm here for a couple. Don't worry about that.
Great stuff.
On that subject, I mean, we haven't really had a great chat about that just yet, but we will in a few moments when we go for a break. We've got about 8 minutes left in qualifying. Numbers across the three servers in three figures, ladies and gentlemen, which is quite extraordinary for the first night of the term. For GT3, with thanks to waste options from the Circuit de la Sarthe. We are very excited about that. Joe?
We have 25 in AM.
Yep. Ooh,
We've got 33 in the Pro. And the Pro-Am is currently sporting 51 drivers. So I'm not sure which one is being broadcast tonight, but my God, the Pro-Am is going to be a mental... I mean, it's a big track. You know, people will find their own little battles, but what a great turnout for the club. First, this is why it's just a staple for the club. We've got 110, 111 registered drivers.
A lot of new drivers registered over the break, so that's probably where that influx in Pro-Am is. So there's going to be some filtering out, I assume, over the week.
You're going to be a busy boy this week, Adam Lavis. No doubt about that. Joe, well done, mate. Looking forward to seeing you next week when we get to Spa for this. And, of course, catching up with you throughout the rest of the week as well, mate. Thanks for that.
Certainly will. Thanks, Nick. Have a good call. Sorry, Zach. Have a good call, guys.
No, the other one, Nick's already been gone, come and went. Hey, now, on the subject, can we just let everybody know as well, we'll go through the GT3 schedule in just a few moments' time, but if you're looking for any particular racing throughout the course of the season, race.tgsrci.com for all the relevant information with regards to the club and how to become a member and sign up and join in the fun. We couldn't do this without the supporting cast that are our ongoing, committed, dedicated sponsors and supporters of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. They include all these people scrolling across the top and bottom of your screen. You might notice a couple of new names or updated logos in there, folks. Spreyton Cider, of course, Waste Options, headlining Monday Night Motorsport, of course, merch.tgsrci.com, Orbic Australia, a new sponsor in JJZ Constructions, and we say a big thanks to Lobesy Racing on that note because he's departed his old Trent, but we're going to see him on the grid still in a racing capacity. M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics, and have a look at that. That is a schmick logo. That's got Cessnock written all over it, the black and gold there. Very nicely done, John Simpson. Hey, going to a break. Great to have you along for the ride. Tuesday night will be introductory Formula and Super Formula lights again. Wednesday nights, big change here, an overhaul if you like. We've got the Oz trucks, the NASCARs in there. First up on a Wednesday night, followed by the return of supercars to prime time to a main course slot. Thursday night, it's all about GT4 in the entree and a mix of sprints and mini enduros, and then of course the Porsche Cup as well. There it is on your screen there. That's what we've got to look forward to on Thursday night. Willow Springs on to Sebring for the Porsches, so an American double to get us underway on Thursday night. Friday night will be the Downforce Legends, the Radical SR8s, and that's the slate for this season. And of course on the Saturday night is Mountain Men. Make a note of that at times for next week onwards. In Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Everything this week is AEST, and then, of course, we go spastic with our time zones for the rest of the year. Well done, Queensland, continuing to show why you're 112 years behind the rest of the Eastern Seaboard. We're going to a break. This is why I'm escaping to progressive civilization in a couple of weeks. I cannot wait. We're going to a break. It's great to have you along for the ride. This is night one of week one of term 4. Yes, our 31st week of broadcast for the year, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited. We're pumped to be back. We're looking forward to what's ahead. The checkered flag for the year is in sight. And on the other side of this short break, the first of two 90-minute Enduros for the GT3 season with thanks to Waste Options. We're off to the home of the Le Mans 24-hour for 90 minutes of fun. Stay with us. from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we make our way to another famed venue of world motorsport as we continue Monday Night Motorsport across the platforms of Facebook, Twitch and YouTube on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Night 1 of Term 4 for 2024, Week 1 of 10. And there it is, the famed Circuit de la Sarthe. So we go from North America to Europe, and we go from LMP2 to Waste Options GT3. We welcome you to round 1 of the new season, and we welcome you to the first of 2 90-minute races throughout the course of the campaign. A little bit of overtime attached to the qualifying session here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Such is the length of the circuit and the lap. So as we zero in on the start-finish line here via that magnificent drone shot that we have there for you to show you the circuit, courtesy of our good mate Grant Gill, and great to have him back on board producing the intro for us. But he also does all that Google Earth work to start our night at any different venue with regards to whether it's the entree or the main course. We always start with that satellite image, courtesy of the great man. Now, we've got 13.5 kilometres of racetrack to play with tonight. We will see somewhere in the vicinity of 22 laps here throughout the course of 90 minutes, maybe 23. And there it is, 7:30 in the evening server time. How good is that? 12 kilometre an hour winds, 20 degrees, the ambient 21, the on-track temperature at the moment, 65% humidity. And I can't see the rest of it. 11 kilometre an hour winds, but I can't see the rest of it because Starkey's commenting at the moment. So let's focus on a couple of different things here. The fact that this is 13.5 kilometres. It's a long racetrack. Lap times in the qualifying session, 3:53.544, the benchmark for Mark Gomez at the moment, who went very well for the opening few stages of the Open World Nationals a couple of weeks ago before parking it and retiring after copping one penalty too many for his liking. Matty Dench is out there in 4th place at the moment. You'll notice too, ladies and gentlemen, that we are about to bring you the McLaren Cup with a few ring-ins. So many takers for the new McLaren on offer from iRacing this term, which is a completely different narrative, Adam Lavis, to what we saw last term. We were all talking about Mustang versus Corvette. It didn't eventuate. But this term, everyone's wanting a piece of that new McLaren.
Yeah, it's a very nice looking bit of kit. Hopefully it's got the flamethrower still. We'll check it out a little bit later on. But we will notice SDK hasn't come to the party yet, so when we see the tower, there'll be a blank spot. The blank spot equals McLaren for this week, and hopefully SDK will have that fixed for us for next week.
Let's hope so. Now, let's have a look at because we've got some overtime here, let's have a look at the schedule for this season. This is where we're going, when, why, and how, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the format for the season ahead. So we start and finish with 90-minute affairs. We go to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps to bring the curtain down on Term 4 on Monday, the 2nd of December. Next week we visit exactly where we started tonight, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, then onto the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, then to Interlagos for the first of the sprint rounds. Now, you'll notice here that we've got the 90s top and tail, the 60s flanking that, and all the sprint racing back-to-back in the middle of the season. So it'll be relentless and fierce and intense from weeks 4 to 7 before tapering off a little bit in the intensity stakes for 8, 9, and 10. Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya will be the last of the 60-minute races in the top half of the season. Then we go to some of my favourites, back-to-back, Interlagos, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and the Red Bull Ring, you beauty. Then onto the Watkins Glen Boot, all of those featuring sprint racing. We have been more synonymous with 90-minute affairs at the Red Bull Ring in recent times, but no, sprint racing this year, so too Watkins Glen Boot, that's a favourite for sprint racing. And the Fuji International Speedway for 60 minutes after hosting the term finale in Term 3. Then to Sebring. We won't see Nick Fodiatis for that either. That'll be the penultimate round. Great to go back to a sports car favourite. And then on to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. So France, the United States, Spain, Brazil, Canada, Austria, Japan, and Belgium. 8 different countries represented on that calendar throughout the course of the term. Adam Lavis, no love for the Australian circuits, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that was basically the iRacing official lineup. Other than I think Spa at the end, they it was a bit earlier in the iRacing season, but it made sense as a finale track. I tossed up between that and Bathurst, but given the Spa's got a brand new scan, it'd be nice to sort of see what it's like, to see what this new scan is, how we go. And we got a morning start, by the way.
Morning start, and it'll be interesting to see what the sky's doing when we go racing here as well. So we're going to go into the sunrise, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at this. So 7:30 a.m. circuit time, 6 kilometre, 5 kilometre an hour winds. The ambient is 19 degrees and the track is 19 degrees as well. Does that mean it's raining? I think it might. We'll have a look. That'd be cruel to give them rain first up in the new season.
It shouldn't be.
With it's not? Okay. That might just be my eyes deceiving me. Let's have a look. I was going to say that'd be a cruel spatter in the works, throwing them into the deep end with rain and also... No rain. Okay, good. With rain and also nighttime conditions to start the season. Oh, dear. Righto. Mark Gomes and also Jackson Dial, the front row. Richard Mitchell, Matty Dench, second row. Daniel Benefield, who... incidentally, will be with me in the booth on Thursday night. More on that a little bit later on. Shane Clancy, third row. Rain Campbell and Clint Collard, fourth row. Oscar Glissett. Good to see him back on the grid. But he's stolen. Denchi's number 1. And Glenn Arnott from row 5.
So it's not raining, but
big, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not raining, but it is foggy by the look of it. It's a light fog.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. That was what was off-putting about that. It looked a bit misty. And it'll be the fog. Nick Wood and Chuk Fung Wong from the 6th row of the grid. Ben Woods, Adam Burholt, the 7th. And we go back to the 8th row, which is Daniel Piper and Jordan Malcolm. I've just lost Adam Lavis's grid there. Here it comes again. 9th row is Cam Culverwell and Connor Nixon. 10th row, Thomas Foster, Adam Chiplin. So we're noticing some names returning to the grid there for this term, which is exciting to see. Dane Snowden, Jonathan Hooper from 11. 12 is Dave Riddell and also Jay Potts. 13 is David Johnson and Matt Schmidtke. 14, Russ Green, Bobby Camo. 15, David Christensen, Matt Still. And 16 is where you're going to find Mikey Hammond and Jake Jackson, but Jake's got the inside running there. Eli Donaldson, Dimitri Agathos and Colby Cowan make up the field. Colby has not taken the grid. The 35th car scheduled to line up here has not done so. We are down to 34 already, it would seem. Now, by quick calculations here, as the field warms up behind the safety car and we get ready to ignite and turn wheels in anger for the first time in the new term for waste options GT3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Top 6 are all McLaren. 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that's 10 that we're up to 11, 12, 13 to Cam Culverwell, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 McLarens on the grid. There's also representation for Ford, Audi, Ferrari, BMW and Porsche and Mercedes. So no love for the Lambo and no love for the Corvette on this grid. 7 manufacturers out of a possible 9, Adam Lavis, and what's that, 60% of them are McLarens.
So I can hear the jets. But, you can't see them just through the smoke. There they are. So
there we go.
That's an early morning wake-up call for France there.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. 21 McLarens on the grid. 60% of the 35 cars entered. That 35 became 34 in the absence of Colby Cowan. The new season for waste options GT3. It should be a 2x2 start. It's not going to be. It's going to be Indian file. Off we go at the Circuit de la Sarthe. We're racing at Le Mans. We're racing in waste options GT3 for turn 4 and 24 on the platforms of the GSRC. Green start as it should be when it's Indian file to the first corner. Jones will hold off Dial. They've gapped Mitchum. Drench is in there as well. Benefield for 9.5 Simsport. Then Shane Clancy. Rain Campbell, the first non-McLaren in the field. Although in a manufacturer that has a good affiliation with McLaren going back many years, the Mercedes, of course. Remember the years of Mika Hakkinen and McLaren Mercedes? Yes. Very, very good times. Formula McLaren indeed. Nick Fodiatis, good evening to you once more. Back straight for the first time. There is a BMW, a Ford, and a Mercedes in the top 15, but 80% of the top 15 is McLaren at the moment as we stretch down the back straight for the first time. Listen to these cars hard at work, and yes, it is foggy. Have a look at that. Pick up the headlights, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a sea of McLaren. There is Denchi in 7th place, so Denchi's lost ground on the opening lap. What could the champ do for 7th? Benefield moved to 4th, Clancy to 5th, Campbell to 6th. And it'll be interesting to see the late sunrise, but it is still daylight saving, progressive civilised format, or at least concept for France at the moment. Server time, of course, closing in on 8 a.m. So it'll be interesting to see when the sun does eventually peek through, how quickly that fog lifts, or whether it's going to be an ongoing factor for the 3 hours of server time and the 90 minutes of race time, remembering that server time is moving twice as fast as real world time, ladies and gentlemen. So every second is 2 seconds in the sim. 2 minutes gone already. Gomes leads Dahl, Mitchum, Benefield, Clancy, Campbell and Dench to the right-hander. Now, outside the top 20, Dave Riddell's down 11 positions on the opening lap. Eli Donaldson's up 3. He's the biggest mover of the field thus far. Dench down 3, the other big talking point. Everybody else seems to be okay. And let's be perfectly honest. Adam Lavis, we've watched a few of these, particularly the 90-minute races, depending upon the term, depending upon the category, because the Porsches have also raced here. We've watched a few of these longer races at Le Mans. It's not won on the opening lap. It can be lost on the opening lap, though, but it can't be won on the opening lap. You've just got to stay in the train.
Yeah, it's all about keeping in touch with everyone. Someone off in the background. I think it's Chuck Fung.
Trouble. Yep. Chook's dropped off the opening page on our score sheet there. That's a big off for Chook. That's an enormous shunt to start the new term. The Mustang drops down to 28th, 29th position now. In fact, he's going to drop right in behind David Christensen. 17 positions lost in the blink of an eye for Chook.
Unfortunately, it looks like iRacing hasn't fixed the shutter thing with the changing of the sun, so that's unfortunate. So we're going a little bit of a dodgy frame rate until the sun comes up. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Copy that. We'll just persevere with it. No different to watching the 7 Plus stream at QR the other day for the AFL Grand Final, I must say. We had a very dodgy frame rate about it. Then again, Willowbank and internet reception and that sort of stuff aren't exactly friends, and aren't exactly, things that you would normally talk about with a great degree of satisfaction. It's always seemed to be an issue in the time that I've been working out in Willowbank. Phone reception and internet, they just don't go hand in hand in that part of the world. Right, 1 lap gone. Mark Gomes, the leader. We're riding on board with Shane Clancy. McLaren's a 1 through 6 at the moment. Denchi's got back by Rain Campbell. So Denchi up in the 6th. The comeback continues, but he's 1.1 off the train at the moment. The next target is this man we're riding with, Shane Clancy. And even he is 0.7 behind Daniel Benefield. Benefield's 1.1 behind Richard Mitchum. You don't want to be falling more than a second off the train here. Even though the slipstream is good, it's not that good if you're more than a second back. It does look like the flamethrower is still aboard the McLaren, which is good news for all and sundry. It's
got the pops and farts. Hasn't got the full afterburner it had before, but it's still a little bit. It's still keeping its spirit alive.
Season underway, folks. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you. But already in the 8 or so minutes of server time since the race got underway, 10 minutes in fact, you can see that that natural light is becoming a bit more prominent. Clint Collard has got by Rain Campbell. Campbell drops to 8. Collard in the McLaren makes it a McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now Oscar Glissett makes it 8 as he gets by Rain as well. So it looks as though the McLaren Cup is going to be well worth.
Rain's definitely got to slow down. Yeah, Rain definitely would have got to slow down that first chicane.
McLaren Cup is going to be half the course on a Monday night in what we normally refer to as race GT3 on the platform of the GSRC.
And also, just I haven't let you in, Zach. So you already heard last season that the locked up SimSport guys joined the Revolution Esports guys. So there'll be a lot more. Should be seeing more of the red and blues in the background there. We'll see a few more of those. Also, Side Hustle Racing actually dissolved and has joined. The majority of those have joined Twitchyfoot. So there's a lot more Twitchyfoots on the board.
Okay, that's well, we knew about Chris Stark's team merging and joining forces, and I didn't know about Twitchyfoot, so thank you for the heads up on that. So yes, it's interesting, isn't it? These teams are taking the whiskey business approach to life, aren't they? Just expanding the stable at any opportune moment. It'll be interesting actually to see if the whiskey business stable is growing in stature throughout the course of the off-season as well. Bobby Camo's out there for them tonight. They've got Jackson Dial in second for them tonight as well. Oscar Glissett out there for HTS. Good to have them back in the series. Twitchyfoot sits 9, 10, 11 and 12 at the moment. And third through Richard Hinton. 1 hour and 22 minutes to go. Strap yourself in and buckle up, folks. It's going to be a long ride around the Circuit de la Sarthe tonight. Dials to within half a second of Gomes. Let's have a look at, if we can. There's Connor Nixon, and good to see the Drop Bear Motorsport entry on the grid, staying out of trouble early on. One of the handful of non-McLarens on the grid tonight. Let's have a look, if we can, at Jackson Dial, because Greg Heaney did tease that he had been hard at work on the whiskey business liveries for the new term. And yes, the yellow is almost as prominent as it was last term. Very nice.
So he's going to a brighter yellow and a darker blue to sort of make a bit more contrast.
Yes. That's a very nice bit of work from Greg Heaney in the whiskey business.
It's been hard to see through the fog, but we will definitely see at some point.
Throughout the course of the
he's going for a move.
Break. Oh, here we go. Lead change. Dial wants to lead from the front. Goes to the inside of Mark Gomes. Gets it.
That looked more...
New race leader at Le Mans.
That was either Gomez had to slow down on the final chicane, or Gomez is like, hey, I'm not going to be your horse the whole time. It's your turn, my turn to be the carriage.
All in the name of maybe saving a few millilitres of fuel here and there. Dial leads from the front. Chris Stark away on holiday at the moment, tuning in from afar and catching up with GSRC even though on the way. Nice to have you on board tuning in as per usual. We know when you're not in the cockpit, you're tuning in, even when you're at work on a Monday night. But nice to see you're enjoying some R&R as well. We'll have you back on the grid in no time, I'm sure. 3:55.479 for Dial, the fastest over the race thus far. Now it's interesting too because you look at that. So I'm looking at 3:55 with 22 times 4 is 88. Are we expecting 1 or 2 stops tonight, Adam?
At least 2, I believe. At
least 2. So take them into consideration. I think we get 23 laps. 22 by 4 is 88, and the third gets you to 92. Take the 5 seconds off the 22, and that brings you back to 91 minutes and 10 seconds. But then throw the pit stops in, and you're back out over beyond 92 minutes. So I just get the feeling that yes, the track's still warming up. We're nowhere near those. We're nowhere near the qualifying pace, which was in the 53s. As the track warms up, these guys burn their fuel. We may see some Hollywood numbers tonight, but yeah, 23 laps is about where we're heading with regards to race tonight, folks. To the outside. To the inside goes Connor Nixon. To his outside is Adam Burhoff in one of the only BMWs on this grid. Russ Green's out there in sympathy with him, that's it. Dave Riddell's been on the pit lane already, so has Chook Fan Wong and Eli Donaldson. I know that Fan Wong had to come down to get some damage repaired. It cost him 48 seconds. Dave Riddell's been on pit lane for 22.3. Already, quite a few cars have lost track of the train here. In fact, there's a huge gap between Matty Dench and the rest. Whoa, Dave Riddell! Oh! Huge tank slapper. Glenn Arnott's nearly 4 seconds off Matty Dench, so there's a huge gap between 6th and the rest. And Denchi's closed to within a second of Shane Clancy, who's closed to within a second of Daniel Benefield. Oh, that was Chook's moment. We saw it in the aftermath, but that's the replay of how it happened. Gomes, Mitchum, Benefield all lighting up orange on our timing screen in terms of the interval and the gap at the moment to Jackson Dial, who brings the seat from the front. McLaren's run at 137. He's horrible at the moment at the end of the first part of the race. Second moment for Dave Riddell on his way to pit lane. That's why he's on pit road. It had nothing to do with the first spin. He didn't make any contact with anything there. No damage. That was the second spin. 1 hour, 18 minutes to go. Dial, Gomes, Mitchum, Benefield, Clancy and Dench the top 6 at Le Mans. The best of the Mercs is Varane Campbell in 8th. The best of the Bimmers is Adam Burhoff in 15th. And the best of the Ferraris is Thomas Foster in 16th. The best of the Porsches, once upon a time a formidable dominant force in this caper. Best of the Porsches. Hang on, Adam Lavis, is that my end or your end this time? Because I've just got a frozen screen on my end now.
Just try to refresh this. Something's on my screen, so working. But finish your question. Best of the Porsches is Schmicky's in a Porsche back in 23rd.
23rd, yep. And the best of the Audis, Michael Hammond in 28th. Good to see Mikey on the grid. And the best of the Fords, Jordan Malcolm in 7th. I think I skipped past the Fords. So, yeah, interesting stuff in the early stages here. It's interesting. SDK timing's still working, but I've lost your Discord feed, mate. Unfortunately, it's just frozen on the screen there. So if you can fire that up again, or potentially, that'd be great. But in the meantime, I'll just commentate to the timing screen. Dial, Gomes, Mitchum, Benefield, Clancy, and Dench, the top 6. It's great to have you along wherever you're tuning in. Right around the world. That's better. Eli Donaldson seeing that on replay now. Thanks, mate. That did the trick. Might just be what you were saying earlier about that twitchy, glitchy bit rate between, or frame rate between now and when the sun is up proper. Here comes Guy, leading away from Gomes and Mitchum. Interesting season coming up. Quite a few good racetracks involved in this schedule, folks. We finish it with the 90-minute. We start it with the 90-minute. The 60-minute rounds are 2, 3, 8, and 9. Sprint racing consecutively on a Monday night for rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we go out with Enduro 60 Sprint, and we come home in reverse. Sprint 60 Enduro. That's probably the best way to describe it. Riding on board with Mark Gomez. Let's just continue with this for a moment, Adam Lavis, and ride with him for the rest of the lap. Just so everybody can get a sense of appreciation, although he might be about to set up for an overtaking manoeuvre here on Jackson Dial. Let's just follow this. I don't want to not be talking when there's an overtaking manoeuvre. Geez, he had a lunge there, didn't he? Didn't get it done. To the left-hander. He's happy to tuck it behind and bump draft, but he doesn't want to take the lead back just yet. Let's ride with him for the rest of the lap, folks, and see what the McLaren sounds like, because we've all been hearing about it. Everyone in the server's been raving about it. It's reflected by the presence of the McLarens on the grid. Now let's hear it at work. was good while it lasted for Mark Gomes. He copped the slowdown penalty off the final corner, and there's an invoice to pay with that in the form of losing track position to Richard Mitchum and Daniel Benefield. And Shane Clancy's now giving him the hurry up. Oh boy. Dentchy's clocked the fastest lap of the race. The McLaren sounds spectacular. Sounds superb. Very schmick bit of kit. I'm glad that we were able to take a breather and go for a ride on board there with Mark Gomes. But it may have been a kiss of death because now he finds himself with an invoice to pay in fourth. 3:55.430. Still a long way from the fifth region qualifying. What will be interesting to see is how long these stints run for, Adam Lavis, because I know in recent visits here we've been talking 5-6 laps, but given the capacity for these races that we've seen granted to the competitors by you in recent times, we should go a little bit further.
I think with the Enduros, it should be like about a mid to high 30-minute fuel run. So with the longer track though, with being a Formula lap, it depends on how close they are to getting up, whether the guys can stretch it to the next lap or whether they got to do the lap before. So that'll be where the fuel games come into play.
More so than ever, because one lap around here is a huge advantage.
Yeah, basically you're saving yourself a lot of time at the end because you get put much less fuel in on that last stop.
Well, let's be perfectly honest. Let's be realistic. We're backing Dentchy to run a lap longer than everybody else. We usually would. We usually do. But what will be interesting to see is the gamesmanship that goes on after the first stint. He breaks it up in what increments in terms of when they stop, when they zig, when they zag, who undercuts, who overcuts.
Well, he has burnt some fuel to catch this lead group, so now he might. Now he's back with the group. He might take the afterburners back off again.
The old fog playing its part. Greg Brooks, good evening to you. Yes. Jackson Dahl, Richard Mitchum and Daniel Benefield with 1, 2, 3. Drain Campbell in the first of the non-McLarens. Burke having a look on Glenn Arnott, but not finding a way by just yet. Only 18 minutes gone, folks. We're on lap 5. It's a long way home from here. Richard Mitchum has moved up into second spot. Daniel Benefield to third. Both beneficiaries of that slowdown for Mark Gomes. Shane Clancy holds station in fifth, and Matty Vince has only got back to sixth after slipping to seventh in the opening stage in the opening lap. Nice to see him in the McLaren for the new season. Did we go back and work out what he hasn't won in yet? The Ford, obviously, the Mustang, he's got to give that a crack at some point. Did we work out whether he had a run in the Bimmer or not?
Yeah, no, he's done the Bimmer.
He has done the Bimmer? Okay, so it's literally only the Ford to go. Oh, big one for Matt Distill.
Doing his best Chuck Fung Long impersonation.
Exactly, same spot. Just a few laps further into the piece. He's been on pit road now. He's been on the tow road for 3 minutes. Pit road by the tow road for 3 minutes. So from hero in LMP2 to 0 in GT3 for Matt Distill. Actually, no, my apologies. He went in and got his fast repair and has got back out. Or is he parked up for the night? I'm not sure. No, he has parked up for the night. So he got onto the tow road and to get out of the server. It was the quickest, what do you call it? A quick eject from him. It was Jake Jackson, my apologies, that's been on pit lane for 4 minutes. And I'm not terribly sure as to why. Michael Hammond comes to pit lane at the end of lap 5. And onto the Jacks. With some fuel going into the tank, possibly, or is he parking up as well? Oh dear. Okay. So a couple of things to follow up here. Here's Michael. Okay. Hammond coming to pit lane. 1, 2. Oh, yeah, okay. And Hammond is passed up and retired.
He's probably got a penalty there and didn't like that.
Wow. So Hammond's out as well. We saw why Magnus was out, but none the wiser as to why Jack Jackson is on the tow rope on pit lane. Dave Riddell is back out there, so quick time long. Eli Donaldson out of business up there. The track as well. Have a look at Greg Brooks talking up the new merger. Revolutionary Racing, of course. And he said they've got some more great talent in their ranks there. And that's, it's nice to see that a couple of teams have adopted a can't beat and join them approach, or if they're being joined. So that's exciting. Go from having a lot of small teams to having quite a few big teams on the GSRC service. The Teams Championship is going to be interesting this year, or this term rather. 22 minutes gone, we're on lap 6. Richard Mitchum's punched out the fastest lap of the race whilst we've got out of the pit lane. Here is Matty Dead! Making his move. Sick of being tucked up in behind Shane Clancy. He finds a way through in the draft to 4th. Oh, and then nearly put it off the road. Jeez, not this early, can you please? 3:55.379 was that time for Richard Mitchum. So Distill, Jackson, Donaldson, Hammond all out of business. Jackson has now parked up as well after 5 minutes and 44 on the tow rope. He said, I've had enough. So Lamar has already claimed 4 victims. It bites hard in this place. That's a very hard place to recover if you make a mistake early in the piece, especially in a race that's only 90 minutes long. We're not expecting a safety car tonight. We're expecting this to go green all the way. And Donaldson and Hammond are your casualties. To the end of the 6th lap we go. Richard Mitchum giving Jackson Tyler hurry over the main straight. Let's go. Keep it running, ladies and gentlemen. 23 3/4 minutes gone from Lamar. Fastest side of the race for Daniel Benefit. 3:55.069. Jackson Dole leading from the front, maintaining a consistent pace here in the 3:55. Mitchum happy to follow in behind and save a little bit of juice in the meantime. Daniel Benefield will be jumping in to the commentary box on Thursday nights this term. Looking forward to getting his insight and his expert comments on, because he approached us, he said, you know, do you need an extra voice? He said, I'm happy to come in and, do some analysis and some expert comments sort of stuff. He may have to play himself if I'm away on a Thursday night at any point during the season, but looking forward to having him back in the booth with us and getting his insights with GT4 followed by Porsche Cup. Thursday Night Motorsport returns this Thursday on the platforms of the GSRC. Starkey over Stark. We did exactly right on the bingo card about 20 minutes ago. Thank you. Lovely. 23 in total is exactly what the numbers we were running there. We couldn't see anything. We know it's a very long way around here with it being 3 minutes 55. So I mean, 22 laps was 88. But you take 5 seconds off 22 laps to get a minute and 50 back. So if you go 23 laps, that's 92, and you're coming back to 90 minutes and 5 seconds. Throw the pit stops on top of that, because 24 by 5 is 120 for those of you playing along at home. So if we go at 3:55 for 23 laps, we're going to finish at 90 minutes and 5 seconds. But we know we've got 2 pit stops to run as well. We know we've got up to 3 minutes and 50 of overtime that we can leverage as well. So yes, 23 laps. 100%. The joys of technology stuff, the joys of relying on battery. They're bitterly disappointing on the odd occasion, aren't they? You think, hang on, that was 3 minutes ago and now it's flat. I had that yesterday, actually, got back to the racetrack. It's amazing how much battery Facebook Live and other things choose. 26 minutes gone, lap 7. We're heading for 23, as I've been saying. Dimitri Agathos, good to see him back on the grid. Sporting a famous livery in McLaren circles, of course, when Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard were at their peak in Formula 1. And then, of course, later, the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso and Juan Pablo Montoya and Kimi Räikkönen. Good evening, Daniel. Yes. Solid observation from you. And thick as that as well. Thick fog. Oh, Adam Burhop. Oh, no. Come on, boys. You can't be doing that this early in the piece. One of the only BMWs in the field finds trouble down at the end of the back straight. Let's have a look at it again. It was Thomas Foster, the Ferrari, that he got tangled up with. They were the best placed of the two manufacturers up until that moment. Burhop still remains the best placed BMW, but Tommy Foster has lost out in the Ferrari stakes to Jonathan Hooper. Back at the front. Look at how good is this? Oh, it's good, Glissick. Great to see him back on the grid. He'll get a whack across the knuckles at the end of the night for using Denchi's number, but that's okay. And it's good to see him back on the grid. And he makes his way down the main straight once more. Trailing Glenn Arnott. Being pursued by Clint Collard. They're all trying to go with Wayne Campbell. 10 McLarens in the top 11, ladies and gentlemen. Get on the inside. No, not going to get it done. Collard wanting to have a crack at Glisser. They're almost losing the toe of Wayne Campbell here, these boys. Dial, Mitchum, Benefield, Dench, Clancy. I've lost train of the discussion in the comment thread there, boys. So I'll let you fend for yourselves there. Reminder, if you're following along at home and you're noticing some indiscrepancies with the totem pole, it's because SGK timing hasn't updated yet, so the McLaren logo is absent. Yes, to elaborate on Daniel's points, 60% of the field, so 21 of 35, 60% of the field, 3/5 opted to run the McLaren tonight. I'll be interested to see Adam Lavis, and I know you'll crunch the numbers for me at a later point in time, what the numbers are like for the McLaren manufacturer across the board, across Pro-Am and Am as well. Remember too, folks, throughout the course of this season, we will bring you some Pro-Am and Am racing here on the platforms of the GSRC, across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. And take note as well, and I probably should have elaborated on this earlier when we were looking at the calendar, some slightly tweaked starting times for this term of racing, all the GT3 races. Here's, lead change.
Jackson's back off here. You might have either slow down or he's starting to need to save a little bit of fuel. So he just said the fastest lap of the race, and he's like, okay, boys, your turn.
Yeah. At 3:54.771, first 54 of the night, and Mitchum has gone to the lead now, so they're all taking turns here at the front.
At the peloton.
Gomes, yeah, exactly. It's like pushing the Tour de France, and very appropriate that we're in France as well. Richard Mitchum takes his turn to lead the train. Benefield is as high as he's been all night, and Benefield second. Dial slips back to third. Dench is back to where he started now in fourth place. Clancy remains fifth. And Gomes, after leading the opening couple of laps, is slipped back to sixth place after copping a slowdown penalty. So yeah, exciting times here at Le Mans. Closer to the pit stops. No Hammond, no Distill, no Jackson, no Donaldson. In the closing stages of the first third of the race. In fact, we've just gone beyond that. 31 minutes gone now. 4 retirements in the opening half hour. If that's a sign of the attrition to come, it's going to be a very big night of attrition. It's going to be a very depleted field by the time we get to the checkered flag. That was Jackson Dial coming to pit lane, diving in. Well, he's within the window. I mean, if we're going 23 and it's the end of lap 8:16, home in a 7-lap sprint, or stint, I should say. So I don't mind that strategic thinking by Jackson Dial. Shane Clancy goes in as well as Clint Collard. So all those men on pit lane right now look as though they're trying to break this up as evenly as they can into thirds.
The only downside with that is if he comes out in traffic.
Correct. That's true. Although that being said, let's see what the likelihood of that is. They've been joined on pit lane by Hooper, Chiplin, Potts and Burhop. There'll be a couple of guys there that after incidents in the open stint, I'm looking at Adam Burhop, they'll be happy to get to the pit lane. Just make sure everything's still in check okay enough. Get back out there. Schmidtke, Agathos, Christensen and Green have also come in. So a lot of people reach lap 8. And
I think Jackson's got a penalty. Jackson's got a penalty.
He has. Can you believe that? The horror show of the opening night continues. That's the 3rd pit lane penalty we've seen already. David Baz. Who else was earlier in LMP2? And now, Jackson Dyer. Let's have a look at this. The run to pit lane. That part looked okay. Uh-oh, that part not so. That'll go.
And I raced not thinking for that.
Right there.
Yeah, it's unsafe entry. It's unfortunate.
Well, very unfortunate. Jackson Dyer back out in the race after a 1 minute and 6 second stop. His charge is done. Jeez, he'll be, that's wretched luck. He'll be bitterly disappointed with that. But it's opened everything up at the front end of the train, hasn't it? So that's the 3rd pit lane penalty we've seen issued tonight. Here goes Daniel Benefield for 9.5 Sim Sport. Wants to take the lead away from Richard Mitchum and does so. Dench is 3rd, Gomes is 4th, Campbell is 5th. But we know that pit stops are looming for these guys. This is the end of lap 9. It'll be about 35 and a half minutes into the race by the time they get round to the start-finish line once more. Have they got enough in the tank to get one more out of it, or is this the critical number? 8 was good enough for, good chunk of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars that time round. A third of the field on pit lane, of those that are still running at least, that last time round. So that means
it'll be this lap or the next one we want best guess.
Top 17 yet to stop, Adam Lavis.
Yeah, I'm assuming it'll be this lap or the next one. If they get another one, that's really stretching.
But it makes it a very short fuel for the run home if they can get to 10. Because then that means your critical number is 13, 14 at worst. And you're looking at 9 or any number in between there. And lap 20 would be the latest possible pit stop if they get to 10. But I've got a feeling it's 9. Let's wait and see. Who's playing games and who's going to run the gauntlet and risk it. Let's see. To the left-hander, to the right. Pit lane, here we go. Critical number is 9. The top 4 on pit road. They're on the lane. It's a clean run in for the top 4. They'll be aware of Jackson Dial's penalty. They'll be aware that he's out of contention.
So it's interesting. Denchi had to use a bit of fuel, so he couldn't get the extra lap out of it. So I wonder how close. to a lap number it was. Like whether it was the fuel burn was a like a lap 0.1 or whether it was a lap 0.7, and whether he had to stretch it or
any of the shorter circuits on the calendar, you back him to get an extra lap, but he hasn't done here. Denchi's missed his box.
Oh, interesting.
Denchi went straight through Daniel Benefield and missed his box. Is he taking tyres or not? No.
Yeah,
Everybody else is on the jacks?
Yeah, Dentchy's not taking any tyres. That's interesting.
No.
But most of these guys have worked out too that with the endurance, they can almost take all 4 tyres on full tank. 3 tyres is easy. So.
Benefield goes early. Richard Mitchum follows. Matty Dench is out as well.
Someone to move.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he goes. Richards just had a longer stop.
Yeah.
So Richards would have taken oh yeah, I'm not sure. Unless there's been a bit of fuel gameplay here.
I think there is.
Because they've only taken 23 and 20. Yeah, Benefield and Dentchy have only taken low 20s of fuel, whereas everyone else has taken 28 seconds of fuel. So they...
the last... David Johnson was the last car to hit the pit box there. You're right, Adam. There's been a lot of musical chairs in all of that. Daniel Benefield's come out 2 seconds to the good on Matty Dench. He's picked Richard Mitchum, Mark Gomes. But those two and Clint Collard went particularly short, 17.1 seconds. They're the only 3 that stand out for mine. Everybody else has gone relatively a full fill, with the exception of Adam Burhoff, who put it up earlier and went 24.7. So, yeah, that's shaking and stirred things up quite nicely.
The interesting thing is with Clint's ones, that's putting with his teammate now to help his teammate out.
Yeah. Righto. Benefield and Dench. 1.9 the advantage for the youngster from 9.5 Simsport. McLaren run 1 through 7 at the moment. Ryan Campbell remains 8th. Welcome to Waste Options McLaren Cup racing for you on the platforms of GSRC, ladies and gentlemen, with a couple of gate crashes, a couple of invited cars. Former traditional mainstay manufacturers, the GT3 racing, going back many seasons on the platforms of the GSRC. Remember, this is season 19 for us and the end of year number 5.
It's a little fuel game for Dentchy and Benefield. That's giving them a 7-second lead. So now they're going to want to. But the trick of that is they've basically gapped the guys that were just towing with them. So they're going to hope now that they've broken that tow, where they can actually extend that gap to make sure they don't lose it at the next stop, or whether they just maintain and then meet the guys back at the end of the race.
So we're probably expecting them in at the end of, let's say, like 15, the end of the hour, compared to the other guys that can probably run to the 70th minute, so maybe 2 or 3 laps further. So there's games at play. Keep an eye on that, folks. Well worth watching. And what will be interesting to see is whether Dentchy then goes for tyres at the second stop, because that will be his longer one.
So there's the pit times, everybody. So you can see they're taking 5 seconds less fuel than everyone else. Fancy also took a little bit less fuel. Clint Collard took a lot less fuel, and then the general consensus was a high 20 for the amount of fuel they needed.
And will that little half second that Dentchy lost by being in the wrong box cost him in the end?
Well, that's probably cost him the slipstream to Benefield. Yeah. He probably would have come out in Benefield's slipstream if he hadn't done a little mishap in the pit lane.
And how rare is it to see Dentchy slip up on pit road? So there you go.
Well, to be fair, when he does slip up, it is more often in pit load than on track.
True.
But overall,
2 drive-throughs or 2 stop and holds at Watkins.
It was like a 2 or 3 week back-to-back where he got pit lane penalties on the exit.
Yep.
But that being said, though, his overall mistakes are very low.
100%. And normally, when we see him in any sort of incidents, it's on a sprint race night. So watch for weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7 for Dane deploying into this season.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. You missed out on it. Looks like a bit of a chess game going on. The guys are trying to position themselves for later in the race and work out what they want to do strategy-wise. So there's plenty of going on.
Relegated by Ryan Campbell. Sorry to jump in there, Adam, but Ryan Campbell now best place of the Mercs is 7th. So the McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has been upstaged momentarily. Rain has jumped up into 7th, back to where he started on the grid.
it's good to see the Merc back in the top half of the field here. So after not even being in Pro Split at all last season.
Or very rarely, at least.
It was running well in one of the other splits, but yeah, Pro Split there was none to be seen.
And what said there is there'll be a few others sitting there at home thinking, oh geez, what an absolute mongrel that we can't be in there tonight. What an absolute shame that, you know, commitments or work or whatever else has got in the road. They'll be watching on green with them wanting to be in amongst this and wanting a piece of it. They'll get their chance next week. So he won't be the only one sitting on the sideline tonight. That'll be disappointed to be missing out on 9 o'clock server time now as we head towards half race distance. And well, what's that? We're 48 minutes away from time. So that's going to take us to 9:49, about 10:37. 10:37 server time will be when we're on the last lap.
The downside I see with that weather is the wind isn't that high. It's only a 4-kilometre wind, so it's not going to really blow the fog away for us, unfortunately.
No. Yeah, Brooksy, you won't be alone because, I mean, tonight, have a look at that, Adam Lavis. Top 15, there are 2 Mercs and 1 Ford in that. 12 McLarens. 80% of the top 15 is McLaren at the moment. Will that be the narrative? Will that be commonplace? Standard procedure throughout the course of this term or not? We'll wait.
Well, it's going to be very popular. It's not only is it a good looking car, from all reports it drives very nice, and as we can see, it is towards the front of the field. So it is one of those things that's going to be a very popular choice this season.
It is. And of course, I don't say that in terms of the week-to-week, participation numbers, because we know that we run a pick and stick format. In terms of if you are driving a McLaren now, that's your car for the term. I mean, will there be races, tracks that we go to, rounds that we go to, formats that we run that bring a different factor to the fight throughout the course of the campaign? 9 weeks to find out. But right now, a McLaren show on a Monday night for the balance of the term, it would seem. Yes. So iRacing have their way with it and say, hang on, we've got our win coming out. Everyone's enjoying it, having a piece of it. Let's throw a spanner in the works and spoil the fun. I get exactly what you're saying, Brooksy. We'll get the first one.
So Nixon and Woods have managed to latch on to make this a 5-way group now.
And yeah, it's interesting too. Arnold in 8th, Glissett, Nixon and Wood 9, 10, 11. So that's a 5-car fight. But at least Campbell's got moral support there in the form of Nixon because they're both running Mercs. Some big gaps forming. Like, look at that. From 6th back to 7th, 12 seconds.
Well, that was all like that. So that top 6 broke away at the start of the race. That peloton at the start, they were always out in front, so that gap's been there for most of the race. But yeah, it's a very.
And if you want an idea as to how big an invoice Jackson Dials paid with that pit lane penalty, he was the only one, by the way.
Yeah, it's 30 seconds.
Then 40 seconds for one, but that's putting it down at first position. Ooh, it's a long way back from there. Russ Green has retired, so didn't see what happened to those blokes, but they have retired. So Rev joined the ever-growing list of attrition tonight. The casualty ward, Russ Green in the BMW, David Christensen, Eli Donaldson in the field. Actor still in the Ferrari and Jake Jackson in the Mustang. Remembering that Colby Cowan was a non-starter, so we're now down. We're now down to 28 from the 35 that we had at the outset.
DJ.
had a hit the final corner and rejoined.
DJ in a Porsche. I never thought I'd see that.
No, Dave Riddell back on the pit road too, by the way. But that's about what we expected. Oh no, hold on to it, David. No, he's pulled up. He's had enough. He's done. Dave Riddell pitted at the end of lap 1 with some damage. Got a fast repair, got back out there, and so him coming back to pit road now at the end of lap 11, that's to be expected. And Green has had a big one in the concrete.
I know what's happened here. So watch the onboard here. So this blue wall, it sneaks up on you. You think it's further away. Bang, he just clips it. It's with the way that the white is on the bottom, it's an optical illusion of how far away. It's very easy to hit that wall if you're just not paying attention. He's just broken the steering there and put him in the fan.
There you go. And the concrete bites hard at speed around. Classy spin. I don't think he'll be thinking it's classy. I don't think that'll be he'll be using at the moment, Brooksy. Good to have you along for the ride. It is Monday Night Motorsport. It's a 90-minute enduro to kick things off for term 4 of 2024 on the platforms of the GSRC. Across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, night 1 of week 1. And we're back on Wednesday night with the NASCAR trucks and supercars. And Thursday night it's GT4. I've missed GT4 on one of my broadcast nights. Thursday into the Porsche Cup. And we're starting with an extended night there as well, because the Porsche race in 60 minutes first cab off the rank on Thursday night. So looking forward to that. I'll be, hopefully, fingers crossed, all being, touch wood, all being fair and equal, coming to you from Taree. Just got to test the internet connection when I get down there on Thursday night. I'm down there Wednesday, so I'll test it Wednesday night. But fingers crossed that it'll be okay. I'll run it off the phone hotspot if I have to, but I'm not sure what the phone reception's like in that part of the world. So, geez, a little bit of indecision there from Shane Clancy. A little bit of gamesmanship, and it bites him! Oh! For Clancy, and loses out to Clint Collard. Oh dear. So now there's some big gaps forming. There's some enormous gaps forming. Unless you're Daniel Benefield, your advantage is shrinking, son. Denchi's on a march. 1.3 seconds away. It's shrunk from 2 seconds to 1.3 in the space of 3 laps.
And to be fair,
3:55.049 for Denchi, his PB of the race last time round.
The gap between Denchi and Gomez isn't stretching though. Gomez is keeping that gap. He's maintaining.
Yeah. But it's the gap now between Mitchell and Collard that's at 2.5. Clancy lost 6 seconds there. He's still got 6 seconds on Campbell, who's only got a second on Glenn Arnott. That's the matter we're watching.
On the plus side, it erased your 12-second gap.
Yeah, true. That's true. Happy with that. Although Adam Burhop's off the road again. I don't think Shane Clancy will be happy with it, but yes, we are. I'll take it. Now, if you're just joining us too, folks, there's been a couple of things that we need to address here as Adam Burhop smashes into the Armco, and the BMW will be limping back to pit lane, I would imagine.
It's about 3 inches shorter.
Oh yeah. Burhop would need a pit stop. Some repairs, I would imagine. A couple of things whilst we watch this battle continue, which is dual manufacturer. 3 McLarens. Want to alert your attention to a couple of things. Victoria Police, on behalf of residents of New South Wales and fans of the Sydney Football Club, are investigating a missing persons report that was lodged on Saturday afternoon at about 3:15 p.m. when 22 men dressed in red and white seemed to disappear from the Melbourne Cricket Ground after being there for the first quarter of the AFL Grand Final. They didn't show up for the rest of it. And secondly, if you're a Melbourne Storm fan, huge blow to the Melbourne Storm in the lead up to this week's NRL Grand Final against the Penrith Panthers, of course. In fact, let me get back to that tomorrow with regards to the fact that I'm in Taree this weekend, because I saw someone commenting about it earlier. Have a look at. Normally it's Graham Stewart providing the stitch ups here when Adam Burhopp's at the server. No, it's Greg Brooks tonight. Well done, Brooksy. Connor Nixon sitting in 10th at the moment. We're right on board with him. You can tell the fog's still a factor, but not as much as it has been throughout the course of the night thus far.
But what's like easy on the onboard shot, the fog is a lot less prevalent for the guys driving this for us watching.
Yeah, which is good news. Maybe we stick to onboard, I don't know. Yes, the big news out of the NRL was that Nelson Asafa-Solomono was facing a 4 to 5 week stint on the sideline with a grade 3 high tackle, careless tackle charge, whatever it was, with the NRL judiciary. That has been upheld. He wasn't successful in appealing it on the way to the NRL Grand Final through the NRL judiciary tonight. So therefore, Melbourne will play without one of their key players on Sunday against the Penrith Panthers at a course stadium in Sydney. For those of you that live in Taree or Coffs Harbour, if you can let me know, by the way, best places to go and sit and watch and enjoy the game and the feed, please do so, because I'm down there at the Manning Valley Kart Club this weekend on the way home on the Sunday afternoon. If the event finishes early enough, I'm going to bolt through the Coffs Harbour, fuel the car up, then stop for dinner. If not, I'll start the trip straight after the NRL Grand Final from Taree. So I'm looking forward to getting some pointers in the right direction of where to go for the game and the feed on Sunday on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. Here is Denchi punching out the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly, and he's closed the gap to Daniel Benefield to within half a second. 3:54.734. Now, is this the critical? No, it won't be this lap. I'm thinking lap 15 would be the latest we'll see these guys. Lap 15, lap 16 is my money for these guys, because their fuel stop was significantly shorter, about 6 seconds shorter than Gomes, Mitchum, Collard, Clancy, Campbell, Arnott, Glisson. So look at it this way, right? If the fuel ratio and the amount of fuel going in is an equivalent of if you can compare litres to laps to time, right? If they've fueled for a 9-lap run, though Mark Gomez and co, 28.87 seconds, it's 9.3 seconds maybe. Sorry, let me rephrase that. 9 laps, but 28.85, so that's definitely 3, and 3.3 seconds per lap of fuel. So on those numbers, Denchi and Benefield are probably 1 to 2 laps less. At least 1, probably 2. So if you're looking at that, you're thinking 15, 16 are the critical numbers for those guys. 18 the critical number for everybody else.
We've probably had the critical lap this lap by to get home. So this is probably because everyone pitted with about 34 minutes, so this might be able to stretch it out on this when we get to the line here.
And our numbers suggest that it's 9 laps from here as well.
But it also depends if we do get the extra lap or not.
We should get the extra lap for 23. So if you got to 9 in the first stint, 5 for the second, 9 for the third, 23. So yeah, you're right. We're in that window where we might see a couple of pit stops each lap up to and including lap 18. I think 18 will be the last lap for pit stops.
Yeah, this lap, Mark, because we got Denchi did the fast lap last time by, so Gomez did lose a bit of time to Denchi, but overall to Benefield, he's still keeping around that 8-second mark. So these two overall haven't pulled away from that second group. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out after the stop.
Oh, indeed it is. It's great to watch, isn't it? Does Denchi want to lead from the front at any point here, or is he happy tucking in and following now that he's got the opportunity to do so with Daniel Benefield? What will Daniel Benefield do more to the point? Will he come in this lap, or is it next lap? Whoa! Jackson Dial! 2 for the price of 1. Hairy stuff at full tilt at the end of the straight there to get by not just Jonathan Hoover but also Thomas Foster. The 2 Ferraris. He has pounced on them, swooped in and grabbed 2 for the price of 1. That is a man no doubt ruined what might have been, and happy to get on by and make a statement on his way back through the field.
So it's
Clint
particularly
Collard comes to pit lane. We expected that he'd be one of the earlier ones, considering that his stop was only 17 seconds, Adam Lavis. That doesn't surprise us in the slightest. It's a long run home for Clint.
So strong chance if he's in now, these two will be in the next lap because because Collard took 17 seconds of fuel. These guys took 23, 22. So chances are it'll be about 5 seconds on a lap, roughly. You could shoot. So it'll be this lap or the next lap for these guys, and then the other guys will be in a lap or two after that, or whenever they choose.
A very exciting time. For this race, but not a very good time for visibility. Dench! Whoa! Had a look to the outside, couldn't get through. Benefield controlling this bringing to the front. In the second stint, wanted the clear air, wanted the free real estate, didn't want to tag anyone along. Wanted to relieve the pressure, has done so for the most part.
I think this lap is Benefield's in. I'm going to say this lap's in Benefield's in lap because it looks like he's dropped the hammer here and doing an old Lewis Hamilton hammer time in lap because he's pulled a gap on Denchi and Gomez Denchi might have a slow down because Denchi's actually fallen back towards Gomez a little bit.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I think that is true. Denchi's dropped back 1.4 seconds now. So he's lost a second on Benefield this lap.
And possibly the guys were very up in arms about the way the slowdowns are working last season because apparently there was a bit of a code error where iRacing had the slowdowns resetting every 5 seconds. So if you didn't clear it in 5 seconds, it would reset itself. They fixed that, so now the slowdowns are a bit more normal again. But they do still sting you.
Like all good things.
Well, the trick is stay on track.
Absolutely. 100%. So, we're getting towards the back end of the 15th lap. Do we see Benefield and Dench drive to the lane this time by? Only time will tell. They're about quarter of a lap from home. And now we pick up Oscar Blissett under pressure here from Connor Nixon. They've caught Glenn Arnott and Rain Campbell. Or stuck with them at least. They haven't lost too much time there. Shane Clancy is now only 6.6 seconds ahead of them. But more importantly, Clancy's lost 4 seconds to Richard Mitchum. And Richard Mitchum's about to pounce on Mark Gomes. So this race is at a very interesting crossroads. Speaking of interesting crossroads, that battle continues. 19th, 20th, Thomas Foster, 18th, 19th now. Thomas Foster and Jonathan Hooper. And that's why, because Clint Collard's rejoined in 22nd after stopping at the end of lap 14. It was a 28.5 second stop for him. Benefield and Dench will go once more. So that makes it a 7-lap run home potentially if they stop next time by. Which means they're only 2 laps ahead of everybody else in terms of the amount of fuel they're taking on board. So hang on, I'm going to punch this in. Right. So let's go with 28.85 because that was the stop for Mark Gomes.
You got to also remember they had a fairly decent roll up, so that the roll up could have been the difference between making the 10th lap or not.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking per lap, I'm just merely trying to work out if they've fueled a full 9 laps, the stop time, it's 3.2 seconds for the amount of fuel per lap to go into the tank, 3.2 seconds. Right, so that's not too bad. And you look at Denchi's stop, it was bang on 6 seconds faster than Gomes, and that was even with missing his box at the start. The clock obviously didn't start counting until he jumped on the jacket. And Benefield at 23.17. So, yeah, I get the feeling that they are only 2 laps ahead of these guys in terms of when we're going to see them on pit 1.
But 2 laps around here is a long time.
Oh, it's a very long
it's
time.
8 minutes. 8 minutes of fuel.
That's right. That's right. But, I mean, for 8 minutes worth of fuel to go in 6 seconds, that's might be impressive. That's enough to get you through, what is it, 27 kilometres circuit de la Sarre. So, and that's the other thing. It was the slowest pace for a warm-up lap. It was maybe a fifth of the lap they did behind the pace car. So that would have played its part. But we won't know unless somebody gets to lap 19 before they stop for the splash and dash. Don't expect we're almost certain bet our house on Benefield and Dench not going that far. In fact, it's somewhat surprised if they've gone this far. But 9, 7, 7 isn't even on home for those guys. Gomes, Mitchum, Clancy, Campbell, Arnott, Fawcett and Nixon. They've gapped Nick Wood, Ben Woods, Daniel Piper, Dane Snadden. Jordan Malcolm is all over the back of Dane Snadden at the moment, so there's another Whiskey Business entry. Best placed Whiskey Business entry now after Jackson Dales slip up. He's slotted back into 17th spot now after that 2-for-1 move at the end of this particular straight here. Out of the Mulsanne they go, out of the right-hander, and now they begin the run home. Benefield and Dent, 3:54.734 the benchmark thus far, 27 minutes and 20 seconds from home. So what are we? 63 minutes into the race, ladies and gentlemen. That's gone by pretty quickly, all things considered. In fact, the entire night's flown on by, to be fair. First night of the new term. We're back with you on broadcast on Wednesday night. Chapo and Banksy from 7:40 Eastern Standard Time for the NASCAR trucks. That race commencing 7:40 Eastern Standard Time. And then Thursday night, Daniel Priasara from 7:30 or 7:35 Eastern Standard Time as well for 40 minutes of GT3 racing, or GT4 rather. In fact, sprint mode racing on Thursday night, so 8:30. And from 9 o'clock, we go to see the Porsches. Here we go. Readers on the lane. Lap 16. So they've split it down the middle. 9 for the opening stint and 7 for the 2 on the run home. Mitchum and Gomez go through to start lap 17 and continue to lead the way. How does this balance out on corrected order once the pit stops are done? We're not too far off finding out. That's it, Denchi.
Denchi's still not taking tyres.
Denchi's going to do this without taking tyres. That's impressive. On the same set of rubber. Benefield's obviously keen for some rubber. Gomes has just punched out the fastest lap of the race, 2 by the way, 3:54.546. They're not alone. Malcolm, Chiplin and Potts and Hooper have all come into the lane on this time round as well, on this time by. No surprises there. Denchi has got the jump on Daniel Benefield to the tune of 2.3 seconds. My goodness, that's a hell of an effort from Matty Dench. Dench's stop time that time round at 20.60, Benefield 22.8.
So interestingly,
Denchi is running the gauntlet.
So he's taken less. So they're doing 7 and 7, but he's taken Benefield's taken the same amount of fuel at both times. Denchi's taken less. So is Denchi doing one of his tricks where he's taken deliberately less fuel to try and make it the gap and then try and save it to have direct track position? And we've heard him say that in interviews before, where he's taken the gamble of putting less fuel in and try and run away. But and he's been saved a lot of times with the guy behind making a mistake and letting him off leash. So let's see if Benefield can track him back down. And also it'll be interesting to see if the other guys come back into this same group when they do their stops in a lap or two.
Games are up and going. Now we're not too far off finding out who's mastered the plan of attack. who's going to get one up, draw first blood, and get the psychological edge on the competition for the balance of the season. Just looking further ahead, Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway on Wednesday night for the trucks, Willow Springs for the Super 2 and Super 3. Willow Springs also for GT4 and Sebring for the Porsches Thursday night. So we're going to see quite a few American tracks, quite a few favourites first cab off the rank in the new term on the platform. Banksy's here with you on Wednesday night. I'll be back on Thursday night with Daniel Correa-Sar. Greg Baldwin and Nick Fodiatis with you on Friday night as well. Gomes, Mitchum, Hanks, Kemp, Arnold, Blissett, Nixon, Woods, Piper, all yet to stop. So too Dane Snadden. Dane Snadden's already been passed by Matty Dench and hasn't stopped for the second time yet. So that tells you how good a night Matty Dench has had and how maybe not so good a night Dane Snadden's had.
And given it's a minute total transit, so...
Has to stop a second time. So who's doing what here? Let's wait and see. Who stops this time by? We're not too far off finding out. 17 and 18 are the numbers we're expecting the most pit lane activity for. Keep your eyes peeled on pit lane, folks. Rain Campbell there in 4th place. Gomes goes again. So does Mitchum.
Pretty sure Clancy will be in. He short field last time.
He did. It was only 25.5.
There he is.
Paul Adam Lavis. Rain Campbell goes again. Glenn Arnott goes again. Oscar Glissett, Connor Dixon. They all go again. So does Nick Wood.
So now the
Piper will probably come in this time by.
So now the question here with these guys, as I said before, is like they're going pretty fast. So they're not really saving too much fuel. So it's probably unlikely. But is that fuel range with the roll-up lap, is it enough to get an extra lap out? Because that would be, as you said, 3 seconds less stopping time in the pits if they can get an extra lap.
Yep, that's it. And that's, basically, I mean, I don't know how much of a capacity each of these tanks hold in terms of the percentage or the actual literage.
Well, so the way iRacing does that, they do all have different size tanks. And, but that's based on their burn rate, so therefore they sort of burn the percentage of the tank size at the same rate. And then to also counter that, they've also got fill rates at the same sort of percentage to make sure that everyone's relatively even. So even though the tank sizes are different, everyone has their own fuel burn. Overall, they use the full tank in the same amount of time, and it takes about the same amount of time to fill the tank.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's all I was trying to work out was how quickly, in the way of litres per second, how quickly these tanks are getting filled.
The sun is trying to poke through.
Yeah, good luck. Well, we're at the 1 hour 10 minute mark in just a few moments, and that's going to take us up to nearly 10 o'clock server time.
Unfortunately, that humidity has not budged from 99% the whole race, unfortunately.
No. What tricks have you got up your sleeve for us this season, Adam Lavis? How many wet races are we expecting?
There's a couple here and there. I think there's a few sprints where one race is wet and one isn't.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of sort of like little drizzly stuff like in practice or whatever. So I think there might, if anything, there might be only one race where it's proper wet guaranteed, but everything else is sort of a percentage chance. So there's a bit here, a bit there, but yeah, there's no sort of, it's not like, we're not going to see a lot of rain in GT3, but there should still be some here and there.
Indeed. Looking forward to seeing what comes of the next 9 weeks here on the platforms of GSRC. Gomes, Mitchum, Campbell, Arnott and Gliss at the top 5 at the moment, but they, along with Connor Nixon and Nick Wood, are yet to stop. So too Dane Snadden, so too Thomas Foster and Cam Culverwell, so too Bobby Camo. We've seen Jackson Dahl come back to pit lane, and he's resumed in 21st position again. So all that hard work is ahead of him once more. Leaders to the lane this time by, if we're betting men, 1 hour 11 minutes gone. The end of lap 18. Right on track for that 23 number that we mentioned off the top of the broadcast. 355 times 5, here they come. Is 19 minutes and 35 seconds, folks. We're at 18 minutes and 26 seconds to go with that carryover time, plus the pit lane transit here. We'll probably have a 92-minute race by the time we're done. Or near enough to it. 5 laps from home. Gomes, Mitchum, Campbell, Arnott, Glissett, Nixon, Wood. All these guys that have just pitted 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. They'll all be trying to leapfrog one another, you'd imagine. Here comes the leapfrogger of the lot. Watch this. Dench blitzes on by. Gomes and Mitchum come back to the racetrack. Watch the bottom of screen. Watch Dench straight on by and to the race lead. Look at the battle for second. Mitchum and Gomez side by side on the run out of pit lane, and Gomez misses out. Now they've got to contend with Daniel Benefield. Finally, we got some action here at last. Now the race is on, ladies and gentlemen, and it will be on in earnest for the final 5 laps. Here we go. Mitchum has a little bit of breathing space, but not enough to get comfortable with.
Just keep an eye on this blend line here, because I'm just wondering if Rich Mitchum stay within the pit lane limit, because they go side by side.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, it's tight.
It's very tight. It's tight as anything. Neither driver wanting to run there, not wanting to give. You're not allowed to put any part of the car on that line, are you? You've got to be this side of the line.
I think on the line is in, over the line is out.
Okay, so it's a bit like tennis. Over the line is out. That's exactly what I was trying to figure out. Exactly what the rules are. Because he was definitely on it. It looked as though he was riding. But then, I mean, obviously in tennis, you can have 99% of the ball over the line, just a smidgen of it is touching the line it's in. I'm not sure that we're so lenient here. Right, we'll find out. If Mitchum has to transit the lane again, it'll be for a penalty. But I don't think he's going to. All right, watch Gomes. Watch Benefield. Benefield is the hot shot here. He's the one that has the best seat in the house at the moment. Gomes to the inside of Mitchum to the end of the Mulsanne and got him. Mitchum went out a little bit wide, gave him some breathing space.
Going side by side through the corners is not going to help him catch Denchi, though.
No, not at all. I don't think he'll catch him Denchi anyway, just quietly, but that's just standard procedure. Look at this.
Oh, draft enable.
We know that Daniel Benefield's got credentials. We know he's a skilled performer, but what we're seeing now is him ply his trade at GT3 and do so as a regular racer and as a full season competitor entrant. So therefore, I mean, he's the unknown entity here. He's the dark horse as far as I'm concerned. We know what Gomes brings to the table. We know what Mitchum brings to the table. We've been seeing bits and pieces of Benefield. Now we're going to see him, see exactly what he brings to the table and just how willing he is to get the elbows out and go racing toe-to-toe with these guys. Could well be a hot shot in this championship. Yeah, absolutely. That is Joe Baldwin commenting on Jody's YouTube account. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board. 14 minutes to go here. 4 laps at the line for Matty Dench. Mark Gomes is second. Daniel Benefield is holding off Richard Mitchum. So Benefield gets by Mitchum. Mitchum slots back to 4th, but is in the perfect position here, really, because he'll be getting the benefits of slipstream off both of them. Up the main straight, 4 to go.
But the gap has gone from 2.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds to Denchi.
I can't say I'm really surprised. But if Denchi's putting distance between himself and the rest, then either A, he's going to be able to taper off and go at 95% for the last couple of laps, if he needs to save any amounts of juice whatsoever. But the second thing is, I'm not sure that he needs to, because he's pulling away. He hasn't dropped back to them. This time by, whatever he punches out, whether it's a 54 or 55, we're going to get an indication as to just how wound up the wick really is.
We did a 55.2 last time by.
Yeah, there you go. So, not bad at all. Not bad at all. That was a flying lap for him. It was an out lap for these guys. Watch Daniel Benefield. When does he want to make his move?
But yeah, you can tell that squabbling did slow him up, because Benefield's last lap was 56.5, so he was a second and a half slower, just getting caught up in the guys squabbling down the end of the Mulsanne.
Benefield, all over the back of Gomes. Mitchum's lost maybe a car length or two to them. It'll matter very little as they get to the left-hander down here. Gomes was a little bit wide on the exit of the right-hander. Sets himself up for the run down the remainder of the Mulsanne. Hard on the brakes to the right-hander. Drive the roof strips. Entry and exit. Set yourself up for the run home. Big part of the lap is behind you. It's 3 to go at the line. Nixon has jumped up into 7th. This place Glenarnett. So 10 McLarens in the top 11 and 15 in the top 17. It's now 13 McLarens. 13 McLarens in the top 15. Ryan Campbell's the one that's missed out in all. Oh, Adam. Ryan Campbell's copped the slowdown penalty.
Yeah, there was someone in that first group. I did see someone not leaving. I couldn't figure out who it was. So yeah, Rain was he's on that second stop. Got himself a 40-second invoice.
So Jackson and Rain now have paid the price. So we've seen 2 penalties handed out in both LMP2 and GT3 for pit lane infringements by both. Well, in this server, at least Jackson Dial and Ryan Campbell. He's now been passed by Thomas Foster as well as Ryan Campbell. As far as the attrition rate's concerned, the overtime since lap 9 when Russ Green and David Christensen parked up. This is Ryan Campbell's entry to pit lane.
What the hell's wrong with that? He missed the pit limiter. He realised he was that little bobble after the line there. I think he missed the pit limiter and actually started to accelerate again. That's what's got him.
Oh no! Oh my god! Okay, so Campbell's well run. Dials recovered to be 15th. Jordan Malcolm and Connor Nixon are the only 2 non-McLarens in the top 15 at the moment. It is extraordinary. The Mercedes of Campbell is 18th. The Ferrari of Foster is 19th. There are 4 manufacturers in the top 20, but 16 of the top 20 are McLaren. 16 of the top 20, ladies and gentlemen. 3 to go at Le Mans. Watch Daniel Benefield.
And that ratio flips for the DNFs. Because the DNFs is 2 McLarens to 4 non-McLarens.
been a good night for McLaren. There's no doubt about that. It'll be a good season for them, I suspect. What's going to be interesting here? Yeah, what is Benefield going to bring to the table? What's he got in the tank? What cards will he play? Can he get second to Matty Dench, which, as we say every week, is nothing to sneeze at. No matter who you are, whenever you run second to Dench, you're the best of the rest because everyone's still chasing the Dench mark. Which is a very nice run. And a sign of things to come for 9-5 SimSport. So often a team that I would associate with supercar stables and series Adam Lavis, but now they're spreading their wings, venturing, broadening the horizons, venturing out of that nest egg and trying other things. We've seen Benefield have success in IndyCar. We know that they've been formidable in Porsches in recent weeks as well on our platforms, and now they're throwing their hand at GT3. It's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see a new team come in and shake things up. And to be fair though, I can't remember which one it was on the team, but one of them said he the supercar was one of his least favourite cars. So it was a bit odd for him to join a supercar known team. So it is good to see them spread their wings, and they're definitely showing they are a force to be reckoned with. Be interesting to see after the race too, if he does jump the box there, see how much fuel he had left at the end. Did he put a little bit too much in, which gave Denchi that gap? And is Denchi now lifting and coasting to get it home? Just to maintain his gap.
It's 4 seconds, Dench to Gomes. I mean, that's... Oh, here we go. Here we go. Benefield pulls out of the grass, goes for it. Side by side with Gomez down the Mulsanne. Actually, no, it's not the Mulsanne. It's the one after, my apologies. Through they go to the right-hander. They left the Mulsanne. Ben Benefield got a strong run off there and pulled the trigger and went for it. Got by Gomez, well done. Mitchum tucks into fourth. It's brought him back to the fight.
And a smart thing with
now
that,
they're only 4 seconds away from Denchi.
And a smart thing with that move too is that move where it's done mostly on the straight and it's just a sweeper in Indianapolis, basically minimise any time loss getting the move done to Denchi. So they're still with that 4 second mark.
What? It's interesting, isn't it? You took the word right out of my mouth. I knew the name of the corner. It just wasn't sitting there on my lips ready to bounce. And I should have had it on the top of my head anyway, because that's where we started. Indianapolis. 6 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. 6 1/4, in fact. I think we're all looking at the clock thinking, let's get the hell out of here. It's been a long night to get the new campaign underway. Watch this 3-car fight for second. So, 2 podium positions there up for grabs for the taking. One of these guys is going to miss out. Which one will it be? 2 laps to go at Le Mans. Benefield finds his way back to second. So positional gains and losses tonight. 3 in the green for Dench, Benefield, Glissett. 2 for Arnott, Wood and Woods. The big mover has been Connor Nixon up 11 spots. Dane Snadden up 8. Jordan Malcolm up 4. So too Adam Chiplin. 5 for Jai Potts. 11 for Dimitri Agathos. So Agathos and Nixon equal 11. But Nixon will get the point by virtue of the fact that he's in the top 10 at the moment in 7th place. Further up the field.
Unless Dimitri can find another spot.
Yep, exactly. And well, he's only 1.1 off Adam Burhoff. Wouldn't rule it out. Would not rule it out. We'll wait and see what unfolds. But then again, Nixon could easily find a way by Oscar Glissett as well. Going further afield, I mean, Jackson Dial's done well to get back to 15th, but he's still 2 seconds off Daniel Piper with 2 laps to go. I don't like his chances. Russ Green, David Christensen, Mikey Hammond, Matt Distill, Jake Jackson, Eli Donaldson. Well, Hammond was +1 despite being registered as 31st on the DNF list there. -15 for Chuk Fung Wong as well, -8 for Adam Burhoff. So there was a fair invoice to come with any mistakes tonight. And Rain Campbell down 10 spots too. But trying to make it 9 by getting by Adam Chiplin. And Tommy Foster's there ready to pounce as well. Agathos has got to within a second of Adam Burhoff too. So every chance we could see Agathos end up plus 12. There we go. Benefield, Gomes, and Mitchum still arguing over second. 3:54.546 for Gomes, fastest lap of the race. 3:54.908 for Benefield, fastest lap of the race tonight. Last time round, and has Dentry got a purple box lap in him to get the fastest lap, to go with 3 positions gained, to go with the race win that's coming his way in a lap and a half's time.
Definitely interesting to check in with Denchi, see if he did short fill himself and not get that track position, or whether he just happened to save enough in that middle stint to get that fuel gap, that fuel delta. So we just be interested to see which way he went there, because whichever way, just that 2-second lead, it paid off when these other two came out squabbled. Just put Benefield on the back foot and just open up that gap to give Denchi that cushion to cruise it on home.
And he can lift and coast now. He can definitely cruise home. It's 4.5. It's been fluctuating between, 4 and 4.5 for much of this final stint. McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's still a chance that it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connor Nixon all over the back of Voss. It does look like a cheap suit. However, we're about to get the white flag. 1 lap to go. One more time around at Le Mans. At the edge, 4.6 to the good. We'll go to the main straight now to see the white flag. Benefield's in the fight for his life here as he tries to hold on to second to keep Gomez and Mitchum at bay. That's the task at hand that awaits him over the final 13.5 kilometres. Let's go one more time around at the Circuit de la Sarre. Gomes and Mitchum. And you've got to time your run here so crucially. It's vitally important to get it right because you don't want to pull the trigger too soon. It's a long way around the lap here at Le Mans. So many potential overtaking opportunities, particularly on the Mulsanne, particularly at Indianapolis, as we saw earlier. Ryan Campbell's there as well. In 17th, down 10 spots, but under serious pressure is Adam Chiplin, who's 16th at the moment, trying to fend him and Thomas Foster off. Jackson Dale's got his way up into 14th, having got by Daniel Piper. And now Benefield's getting the hurry up from Gomes on the final lap. Gomes will probably have a look down the Mulsanne. Let's go! McLaren pushing McLaren at the moment. Mitchum's in there with a good view of this as well. Shane Clancy's too far back, but he's got fifth locked up as long as he doesn't cock it up on the final lap because he's got 3.5 on Oscar Glissett, who's under pressure from Connor Nixon. Nixon's still up 11, trying to make it 12. Agathos all over the back of Burhoff, trying to get most positions gained as well if Nixon can't do it on Glissett. Chiplin slips to 18th as Thomas Foster gets up to 17th and Rain Campbell to 16th now. So Rain and Jackson, what might have been for them, it could have been a top 10, instead it's 14th and 16th. And here is Gomez all over the back of Benefield, who's done a beautiful job here of keeping these guys at bay on the final lap. But they're still half a lap from home. Denchi's gone, it's extended out to 4.8. Will he punch out the fastest lap of the race on the run to the checkered flag? We will wait and see. Clock expires now. We're into overtime. We'll do nearly 2 minutes of it. Matty Dench will bring it to the flag in the closing stages of the 92nd minute. Jones couldn't find a way by Benefield.
Yeah, I think Benefield got a good run there. I think that might make it hard.
Run. That might be game over. Agathos knows that there's a bonus point there for the taking if he can get by Adam Burhoff. We'll come back and have a look at that in a moment. Gomes and Mitchum are there. Will Mitchum have a lunge on Gomes to knock him off the podium? Benefield doing a beautiful job of controlling
the touch.
contact. Gomes with the big send. Why'd they go? Here here comes Mitchum! 2 for the price of 1! Benefield's been muscled out of it! Gomez got a time run, then Mitchum runs it wide! Oh, can you believe all of this? Richard Mitchum got 2 for the price of 1, then gifted them straight back! Benefield now goes out in pursuit of trying to get back by Gomez, who was very forceful with his send on the inside, and then Benefield returns serve! The elbows are out of the circuit of LaSalle. Second there for the taking. Gomez holds his own. Benefield hasn't given up. Mitchum's lost the toe. Final sector, final lap. Denchi will take the checkered flag, don't worry about that. Benefield's lost out to Gomez, but now has to fend off Richard Mitchum. Denchi, sensational at Lamar, picks up where he left off a few weeks ago. Denchi gets the job done. The champ in the top spot again. Half of the course on a Monday night. Gomes fends off Benefield and Mitchum. Misses out on the podium. What drama in the 91st minute of play. 5th to Clancy. 6th to Glissett. 7th to Nixon. That's how they're going to come home. Arnott holds off Wood and Collard. Dimitri Agathos has got by just now on Adam Burhoff. Agathos is going to get most positions gained by 1 on Connor Nixon. In 19th is Jai Potts, who we're watching at the moment. He's trying to fend off Cam Calverwell. They've lost Adam Chiplin. Thomas Foster is right there with Wayne Campbell as well. Potts loses out.
Slow down.
Calverwell with a slowdown. Oh, it all ignited with 3 minutes to go, didn't it? It was stale for much of that. And then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Dimitri Agathos in 22nd will be the biggest mover of the night, up 12 spots.
I'm going to guess that Bird will probably have to slow down on the Mulsanne somewhere to lose 4 seconds on the last lap.
Had to have. Or he's run out of fuel. He's chug-a-lugging across the line. He's gone. Oh boy, what about that? Let's bring him in. Connor Nixon's here. Kurt Dominson's here as well. I think they both hit their mute button at the same time. Hello, lads. Nice to have you here. We'll get to you in a moment. What might have been? Ben Woods, 11th. Jordan Malcolm, 12th. Jackson Dial, 13th. Down 11 spots after leading this at one point. Dane Snadden up 7 in 14th. What might have been for Whiskey Business. Twitchy Foots, Daniel Piper, Ryan Campbell, 15th and 16th. Tom Foster, 17th. Adam Chiplin for HTS, 18th. Cam Calverwell, Jai Potts. Then Jonathan Hooper. Dimitri Agathos, Adam Burhoff, Matt Schmidtke, David Johnson, Bobby Camo, Chook Fung Wong, and this will be the last finisher. His name is Dave Riddell. Here's what happened to Chook on the run home. Just quietly. Down 15 spots, old Chook. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Mustang meets Armco. What about this? What about this from Mark Gomez? Oh. Jeez. I'd love to get a better shot of that, an onboard shot of that. Was there contact between those two cars? Then I can't believe Richard Mitchum bowled it wide there at the next right-hander. Having just got 2 for the price of 1, gave it straight back to them. What drama in the final lap of this race. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there was definitely a touch. Definitely a touch. Boy. So, I don't know if race control will have a look at that or whether they'll be asked to have a look at that. I really don't know. But that was action-packed. At the end of the 23rd lap, to have 3 cars fighting for second position. You can't ask for much more than that on the opening night, especially when P1 is only 4 seconds up the road and his name is Matty Dench.
He is outfield.
Yeah, and let's put it into the broader scheme of things here. 4 by 15 is 60, right? So, when is the drive-through open from Jordan Malcolm?
There's a KFC on the back straight. Every time we go past, you see a KFC on the back straight.
Oh, very good. Oh, dear. I love it from Jordan. Well done, mate. Excellent. Mate, if KFC had a 24-hour drive-through option the way Macca's does, I'd be there regularly. We've got Dylan Walker, we've got Kurt Normanson, we've got Connor Nixon standing on by. We'll get to all those three gentlemen in just a few moments. 6.5 was the winning margin. Isn't it interesting? We're talking about it being 4 seconds, right? Which around Le Mans, 3 minutes 55 was about the average lap time tonight. Let's round that up to 4 minutes for the sake of just making it a little bit easier on the mathematical front. He was on, so 6 goes into 60 10 times, therefore goes into 40. 4, so he was only 1/40th of a lap ahead of the field.
Twitchy Foot's looking for a photo op.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Count them. Have a look at that. Very nicely done, boys. Did they lose any out of the stable tonight? No. Yes, Eli Donaldson. So no Eli there, but I'm sure they can Photoshop him in at some point. Matty Dench, the winner. Very well done. Gomez, Benefield, Mitchum, Clancy, Gossett, Nixon, Arnott, Wood, and Collard, the top 10. So one. So he was only 1/40th of a lap ahead of the field. That says a lot about the length of the circuit, for one, and just how much closer the competition is getting to Matty Dench. For 2, he didn't have it all his own way tonight. He certainly did not. He had to work for that. He got muscled out in the opening lap. He dropped to 7th, and then strategy play. Missed his box. Strategy play got him back in to the top end of the tree. Dylan Walker's just bolted on out of here. Connor, tell him to come back. We'll have a chat to him in just a few moments. Let me get Jordan Malcolm in, and Drew Hanstein's here as well. That's a new name who we'll introduce you to in just a moment, folks. Kurt, let me start with you. Actually, Adam Lavis, I don't know if you've got the ability to bring up any results sheets just yet from M or Pro-M, but when you do, let me know. Kurt, good evening to you. How was the break?
The break was good. I got a little bit of racing in and had a bit of time off the sim as well. Did some other things, so it was good.
Indeed it was, mate. Now, numbers extraordinary tonight. Pro-Am particularly busy. The Am split had quite a few takers as well. Talk us through your night, please.
Honestly, the way I have an issue at the moment, it lags me out. So I bumped the cord and it lagged me out and it dropped me back, and I had a few issues. So one that got away, but I still had a good run. Had the fuel save. Play a bit of strategy to get back inside the top 10.
Indeed. There are the race results from, I'm going to say, Pro-Am. Yeah, Dylan Walker getting the job done there. Have a look at these TF McLarens in this field, ladies and gentlemen. However, a couple of other cars factoring into the equation. Drew Hanstein in second place. Gavin Simpson third. John Wright, Jake Slade, Dale Sharp, Dave Oliver, Alex Ganotis, and then Guy Leach and Stephen Gowich are the top 10. Winning margin 5 seconds, so just slightly smaller than Denchi's. And then daylight to the rest of the field. As you can see, they're good battle between Sharpie and Dave Oliver on the final lap, and so too Alexander. And well done to all and sundry there. We'll hear from Dylan very shortly. We've got the defending 11-time GT3 champion standing on by for a chat as well. So too a guy that was right there in contention until the first round of pit stops in Jackson Dial 2. We'll hear from all of those guys in just a moment. Kurt, just give us an overview as we see the results here from Am. Warren Ibert, Ben Goring, Jason Tierman, yourself in fourth, Greg Colgan, Phil Butler, Russell Gander, Mitch Buckman, Tristan Kosh and Callum Brown, the top 10. You had a little bit of daylight between Jason Tierman, Greg Colgan and yourself there towards the end. But mate, fourth to start the season, and let's be honest, it was a grueling 90 minutes around Le Mans. That's a good way to start. Your thoughts on all of that?
It was good. Again, if I didn't have sort of the issues, I qualified pole and just those few little technical gremlins that dropped me back. I'm happy with a fourth though. I dropped outside the top 15 at the start of the race, and so to come back and get a fourth place after all that was pretty good.
Indeed. There was the big moment of the opening lap for Chuk Fung Wong in the pros split, and Tommy Foster, we've just shown that, so you read our mind, I must say. Hey, Kurt, talk me through car selection for this season. Did you stay loyal, or did you have a dabble in the McLaren and have a look?
I stayed loyal with the Mustang, and it rewarded me. I think I was about half a second up on my previous pace by just sticking with the Mustang and just doing laps.
Thoughts? Let's bring the calendar up at this point, please, Adam Lavis. Let's get everybody's thoughts on this as we go. We've got Drew standing on by to have a chat from the Pro-Am split as well. So too Dylan Walker. We'll get to you guys in just a moment. Indianapolis next for 60 minutes, then on to Barcelona, Catalunya. Sprint racing right through the middle of the season. Interlagos, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Red Bull Ring, Watkins Glen. That is an awesome lineup of tracks for sprint racing. Fuji for 60, Sebring for 60, and then Spa to finish it off. I think we'll see a little bit of weather along the way, particularly when we get to Spa. But your thoughts on that calendar and what you're most looking forward to, mate?
I love this calendar. It's very well suited towards the Mustang this season, so I'm looking forward to this. A lot of straight line for me to play with. But no, I'm really looking to Watkins. I really have a good time racing around Watkins, and it's probably one of my favorite tracks on the current calendar. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Very nicely done. Now, what else is on the agenda for this week, mate? I know you've got mic issues, so I'm going to quickly finish with you and move around to everybody else. And given that it's 20 to 11, I don't think everyone wants to stick around till midnight on the opening night of the term. So I'm looking forward to obviously having another chat with you on Thursday, mate. But quickly, give us an overview of what you're most looking forward to for the rest of the term on the other nights of the week.
Yeah, I'll be doing the NAS trucks and supercars Wednesday. I might pop in for GT4s on Thursday, and then we'll see how we go for the others and see how I'm feeling.
GT4, any thoughts on what you might run there?
That's a complete shot in the dark, so we'll just have to see what I return up with on week one.
Okay. Remember, pick and stick, so make a wise decision if you're going to keep it in the dark. We look forward to catching up on Thursday, mate. Hey, thanks for that. Well done. Solid start to the campaign. Good result for you. Getting through 90 minutes at Le Mans unscathed and in fourth place. Go well.
Thank you.
Jackson Dial, let me go to you. A case of what might have been.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, pretty disappointed. I came out tonight having something to prove. I spoke to the boys throughout the week. I was on almost every day practicing. Coming off last season, in a couple of series, I knew I was close to Aiden, and I really wanted to show that, Whiskey Business had another driver. And I think I did that in qualifying tonight, but as soon as we came around to that first pit stop, just threw it all away. I was two and twice for the battle that was going on, and just missed my mark, and there goes the race, unfortunately.
40 seconds is a cruel invoice, particularly on this circuit, when you know how long the lap it is, how important the tow is. But in saying that, mate, I mean, we had, at one point there, had you rejoining down in 21st. So I think you proved a point by being able to work your way back through to 13th. And on merit.
I definitely did. I did have a good couple last laps, especially fighting with Dane on the last lap was bloody awesome. But a lot of slowdowns happened after that pit stop. Bit of frustration on my end. And yeah, I think I got easily over 10 slowdowns, which didn't help the pace. Probably could have got a top 10 if I didn't get all the slowdowns, but you know what?
That might be a record for a number of slowdowns in a 90-minute race, actually.
You're not wrong, but look,
not a record you want, but yes, it might be a record.
Yeah, that's right. But we'll look on to next week. I'll keep practicing, and hopefully we're at the top of the field next week.
So there's obviously a couple of questions to follow up with that, because you mentioned qualifying. You definitely proved your point there, mate. I mean, you were second on the grid. You put Whiskey Business on the front row. Obviously, you've Gelled with this McLaren very, very well. You even led the race at one point. There's a lot of positives to come out of the night. Yeah, okay, the result is we put that down to one distinct moment, and that's cruelled it. But it's a long season and a lot to take away from this in the positive scheme of things to focus on going forward for the remainder of the calendar.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And at the end of the day, I did learn a lot from tonight. I don't think there was really any possibility for me to win. I had a couple of setup issues. I was much faster through the back section of the track. I had a bit more aero than everyone else, but it meant everyone had a better toe on me down the straights, and fuel saving was not in my favour. So I think at the end of the day, I was only looking for a top 5. So walk away from this, we'll look at the setup, keep on practicing. That's the main thing. That's what really distinguished me this week. I actually cared and put the effort in, and it really does show. So you'll see me practicing from now on, I guess.
I don't feel too bad. I've just seen a comment pop up here from our own Benny Woods, actually, and it said he had 8 slowdowns, so you're in good company. He racked up quite a few as well, and he only finished 2 positions up ahead of you, and he didn't have a 40-second stop and hold on pit lane either, so I think that says a lot. Hey, been a fair bit going on over the last couple of weeks. We've had club challenges, Indy 500s, obviously all the other iRacing that goes on when we're not on air, of course. But how quickly did you buy the McLaren, test it, and think, yep, I'm sticking with this for the season? And what are your takeaways from working with this car so far?
Mate, I've always loved McLarens. They're probably one of my favourite cars, to be honest. One of the unobtainium cars in my mind. So as soon as I saw the update come to iRacing, I knew I was jumping on it, and for it to handle the way it does, and just gel with me, I'm quite happy. I haven't stopped driving the car a week, and I think that really says something.
Well, I was going to say, you're in good company as well, because 60% of the field was in the McLaren tonight. Completely different to last term when we were expecting Corvette v Mustang and got anything but, because there wasn't as much of an uptake on that as we might have thought. Hey, credit where it's due to Mr. Heaney, mate. That paint scheme looks incredible.
That it does, mate. Greg keeps surprising us. He's getting better every single week, and look forward to seeing what he can do in another year's time, honestly.
Indeed. Thoughts on the calendar and what you're most looking forward to with regards to that?
Most likely the Radicals, mate. I really want to tighten up my practice to just the 2 main cars this season and really give it a shot. So I think it'll be Radicals and GT3s for me.
And on the subject of GT3, I meant specifically the race calendar, the lineup of circuits.
My bad.
No, you're right, because you've already answered the next question, so go on, yeah.
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I haven't had a great look at the calendar. I've been that focused on Le Mans. I'm definitely keen for Indy next week. I was driving the GTP there a couple of weeks ago, so that's going to be a bit of adjustment for me, but I'm sure we'll get it done.
The 2 for the price of 1 that you got late in the race, it was rain. Who was it that you got by? You got by 2 drivers for the price of 1, and I'm just struggling to remember exactly who it was, but it was on the run towards Indianapolis, mate. That 3 wide, it was the only time we'd seen it all night. I take it that was the red mist?
Oh, mate, I was going for it. I knew I had to make it happen. I was stuck behind them, and I committed, and I did get bummed coming into Indianapolis, and I quite frankly shit myself. But we got it done, and then we made it through, so yeah.
It's a good thing it's 10:45. We can get away with that at this time of the night. However, in saying that, because obviously you're full of praise for the McLaren. No doubt you sit there and wonder what iRacing's going to do to hamstring it once updates and whatnot come in to it. But for the moment, for those watching on at home that are wondering why everybody's taken to this so quickly and so enthusiastically, what do you put it down to?
Mate, I think it's just a better Ferrari. It handles, in my opinion, it handles like the Ferrari, but it looks better. And it might be a bit quicker at the moment, but I'll definitely be sticking with it because all around it's just a brilliant car.
All right, very nicely done. Thank you very much, mate. Great to catch up with you. Thanks for being a good sport and coming in and having a chat to us despite the disappointment. You weren't alone. There were a couple of penalties handed out tonight. Ryan Campbell, the other one. There were also 2 handed out in the LMP2 at Indianapolis. Good luck in the Radical on Friday. I mean, we've associated with you with Thursday Night Motorsport for the last couple of seasons with regards to your presence in the Porsches. But if GT3 is your focus, we can't wait to see it on Monday night, mate, because if you bring that pace to the table again and, hit all the markers as opposed to 99 out of 100 of them, then we can't wait to see what Whiskey Business Racing might pull out of the woodwork throughout the course of the season, because we know the stakes are higher than they've ever been in GT3. It's immensely competitive there at the moment, and you're going to be right in the thick of it. So go well. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Zach. Really appreciate that, mate. Have a good one.
There he is, Jackson Dial. Coming to Jordan Malcolm, Dylan Walker hanging there with me, Drew Hamstein as well, and so too. Old Chatterbox over there on the other side of the Nullarbor, Connor Nixon coming to you soon as well. Let's go to Matty Dent in the meanwhile, because it's been a while since the great man has graced us with his presence, so I want to jump on this while he's here rather than miss my chance. Mate, great to have you on board. Have a look at that pedigree, ladies and gentlemen. There's not enough room left on the line. 11 GT3 championships, 10 Porsche championships, plus GT4, GTE, etc., and so forth. And Denty, picking up exactly where you left off with, well, you don't have the number one. You've got to go and have a chat with Oscar Dorset about that just quietly. But the number one will be back on the car next week. We know that. And you were on top tonight, and that was a very nice performance to get the campaign underway, albeit it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, we managed to grab a slowdown, test out the new slowdowns there early in the race, and seems they've fixed that. It doesn't double on you every second, so yeah, we got that cleared, and yeah, we just started poking along and get the feel for the car, and yeah, by the end of it, we gelled pretty good with the car. We couldn't quite grab the fastest lap at the end there, but we gave it a pretty good shot.
Okay, so a couple of things. You've just answered the first question. We wondered what had gone on. We didn't see that you'd copped the slowdown, and it's very rare that you received that sort of treatment, but they were being handed out thick and fast tonight by the great people at iRacing. There's no doubt about that. Just ask Jackson. But in saying that, why the McLaren? Because we know that you've already ticked the McLaren box here. No love for the Mustang just yet?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get around to the Mustang probably one day, I guess. But yeah, I've always really liked the McLaren, and with the new one dropping, it's you can't really pass that up. So.
Well, at least you weren't alone there, Denchi, in that mindset, because 60% of the field agreed with you and went for the McLaren. It's almost as though McLaren Cup on Monday night to complement Porsche Cup on Thursday night.
Yeah, like when the new McLaren dropped, I grabbed it, did like 4 laps around Bathurst. Car felt really nice, and then yeah, tonight was the next time we jumped in. So yeah, we had a little bit of learning to do, but yeah, car feels really nice. So yeah, get up to pace pretty quickly with it, I think. So yeah, it's quite nice.
One little slip up on pit lane as well, mate. We caught it live. Just missed the box. You were a little bit too willing to pull up. You were 1 box short of the mark.
Yeah, I couldn't really see. I had a windscreen full of a big rear wing, so yeah, I couldn't see where I was going, and yeah, I'd rather pull up a little bit short than a little bit too far out. So
yeah, that's true. Yep, that's fair. Hey, what about the pressure from the likes of Daniel Benefield and Richard Mitchum tonight? I mean, you're all using and running the same machinery this season, so the playing field's as even as it's been in quite some time in GT3, and they gave you a good run for your money for the most part.
Yeah, the pace was really good out of the guys there tonight. It was like top 5, top 6 breakaway, and yeah, everyone was on pace to keep up. So yeah, it was really.
Indeed. Your thoughts on the calendar and the season ahead? I'm going to come back to this race in a moment because I'm thinking of a couple of other questions as we go. But your thoughts on the calendar for this season and what worries you and what you're looking forward to most?
Honestly, I think the race director's been noting down the tracks that I say I don't like, because they've gone and thrown quite a lot of minis. So yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
We're looking forward to round 4 at Interlagos. Then like the next few tracks are like kind of like they're not terrible, but yeah. Then we got Fuji up there. We might have to hold a drop round for that one, and then yeah, we get to finish the season off strong with Sebring and Spa, so it's quite good.
I love it. See, everyone knows that Nick Fodiatis is not a fan of Sebring, but Denchi is, so we'll see him in week 9. And your thoughts on the fact that the sprint rounds, you get to roll through the punches there all in one hit. They're back to back to back to back. First time we've done that.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. I think bunching them all up like that, get everyone into the swing of things, and yeah, and go back to regular races. I think that works quite well.
And it's rare that we start with a 90-minute affair, mate, but at least we don't have another one of those until the very end of the season. Indianapolis next week. Initial thoughts?
Indy, not a huge fan of the track, but yeah, I think, I don't know, McLaren might make it bearable, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh dear. Okay, noted. Denchi is looking at some of the tracks here and thinking, but then again, he said that before, and he's prevailed, and he's done so 11 consecutive seasons on the trot. Must have been nice to tick the box last time out, mate. We didn't get a chance to. I don't think we got a chance to chat to you on grand final night with the Porsches either. You had to work hard for that one on grand final night at the Red Bull Ring. We had some really good racing there. Are you going around in the Porsches again this season?
No, we're gonna leave the Porsche in the shed this season, I think, and yeah, we're just gonna have a play around in GT3s, and yeah, we'll just try and open up the calendar.
Okay, I also want it noted at this point in time, it's about this time last year, I think it might have been, Denchi also said something about not getting into the Porsche as much as he did, and then you know, missed a couple of rounds, but still won the championship. So we'll wait and see. He might have some itchy feet come about week 3.
That is true, but then a few people made comments like, "Why would you stop on 8 or 9? Like, why don't you go for 10?" You know, so we went and grabbed that one.
You certainly did, and concurrently, 10 on the hop, even with the season off in between because we didn't schedule the Porsches, but 11 on the hop for GT3. What's at stake here, Denchi, is 12 on the trot and locking out 3 calendar years. It's unheard of.
Yeah, the GT3's always been the main focus. So yeah, content is always nice with them dropping new cars and tracks. So yeah, we're just going to stick with them.
Indeed. Coming back to tonight, you and Daniel Betterfield, great minds think alike. He was thinking short stint for the second run, and so were you. You were the only two that were really on that strategy from what we saw. You broke up the second and third stints of the race evenly, 7 and 7 after a 9-lap opening stint. Questions here. 1, what was the tactical thinking behind that? And 2, how close to empty were you at the end of those 7-lap runs, particularly the last lap, because we noted that your final stop was slightly quicker than Daniel's, and we weren't too sure whether that was you or him, whether he's gone and fueled too much or you fueled too short and had to save a little bit on the run home. And the other question is, when everybody else got 9, we were looking at you and thinking, well, if ever there's going to be an option of getting 10 laps out of a stint, look for M Dench, but you zigged when they zigged rather than zagging like you normally would.
Yeah, we didn't really get to save too much fuel early on. Yeah, we were still trying to come to grips with the car, and yeah, so we were running pretty hard early on, and yeah, I think after the first stop, like I guess whenever there's 2 stops, we just split the fuel down the middle. That seems to be the best tactic. Car's a bit lighter throughout the stints, a little bit easier on the tyres, so yeah, helps you maintain that pace. But yeah, I think towards the end there, we did manage to save a pretty good chunk of fuel behind Daniel. So.
Okay, so Daniel's already learnt the hard way that towing Matt Dench along comes with an invoice later in the piece. Very nicely done. And obviously, great to see you back on track there, mate. Really well done in the McLaren first up for the new term. I mean, with regards to the fact that you've got the likes of Daniel Benefield, you've got everybody running the same playing field. Are you looking at any of those guys as a particular threat, or are you confident of being able to continue on your winning run?
Oh, I think like the top 5, top 6 have always got a shot, especially with us all being in the same car now. So yeah, I mean, if they can put it up the inside, and by all means send it.
All right, very nicely done. I don't think I've got too many more questions for you at this particular point in time, apart from what are you going to do with the rest of your week? Are we going to see you in any of our other offerings here, Denchi? Are you going to have a crack at GT4 in the absence of the Porsche, or are you just going to focus on the GT3?
We're just going to focus on GT3 for a bit, and yeah, just try and dial it in a bit more and see where that sort of takes.
All right, very nicely done, and we'll dangle the carrot of the Mustang at the start of next year, just so you can tick off the full manufacturer suite. Hey, well done, mate. Great performance. Great way to start this season. A 9.7 run to get home, 23 laps, and winning by 6 seconds in the end, 6.5 actually. You missed all the action behind you, and you've ticked all the boxes as to why you were down in 7th, but it was a good fight back from there, and looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table, even though you say it's not necessarily a favourite of yours at the Brickyard next Monday night. Go well.
Yeah, thank you. We'll catch everyone.
What a performance from that man tonight. And the 4 will be gone from the car this time next week. He'll be running the 1 again, I am sure. Yeah, what was it? 3/5 of the field was running a McLaren tonight. If you're just joining us, folks, the best of the Mercs was Connor Nixon. The best of the Fords was Jordan Malcolm. Hello, Jordan. Well done. In a McLaren-dominated field, you were the best of the Fords, mates. Looked like it was a little bit lonely towards the end, but give us a brief synopsis of your night, please.
Yeah, just spent the first couple of stints fuel saving, and then once I got that final pit stop out of the way, just had like 5 seconds either way, so just a bit of a only run to the finish line in the end.
Indeed it was. Let me ask you this, because I know you're a Ford man, but did you have a look at the McLaren at any point, considering that so much of the field has gone and purchased it and run with it for this season, or were you always going to stick with the Mustang?
I did have a look at the McLaren, but considering it's still in my store and I am obviously a Ford man, I was going to always pick the Mustang.
Yeah, very nice. Are we going to see you every week throughout the course of the season, or are real-world commitments going to get in the way?
Real-world commitments are going to get in the way for most series, but I think Monday night is the only one that can do the full schedule. So we'll try and do as many GT3 races as we can, which is kind of new for me. I'm not really a GT3 person. Yep. So we'll give the Mustang a go on a full calendar, see how we end up. But yeah, obviously with work, getting the privilege to go to, work at Bathurst, Gold Coast, Adelaide, and then obviously Phillip Island as well. Just not going to be able to run my favourite GT4s on Thursday.
It's a good thing you're talking about the circuit, because the state of South Australia and its capital, they're not at the top of my to-visit list, but that's another story. Hey, let's before I dig myself a bigger hole, ladies and gentlemen, let's dig my way out of there. Let's ask you about the Mustang between BOP updates, mate, because I know you would have had a drive of it last term. It's had a bit of a hit, an update given to it, a little bit of love shown. What have you noticed from that?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I don't really drive GT3s all too often, so for me, it's can't really tell a difference, and this is such a unique track anyway, so you take all the aero off it, so whether they've fixed like the snap oversteer or something that had the mega understeer, Just driving through the Porsche curves, you were just always cautious, and it wanted to loop itself anyway. But that's what the Mustang was famous for. So we'll see what Indy Road chucks up, and I might give you a better answer there.
And what are your thoughts on that before I let you go? Indy next week, 60 minutes.
It's a track I like. I like Indy Road a lot, but I'm not sure how good of racing it will produce. So I think qualifying is going to be everything around there.
I think you're absolutely right, mate. Anything else you're going to have a dabble in, albeit sporadically, throughout the course of the term?
Yeah, we'll give Thursday nights a shot. We might play with the supercar a little bit before the new Gen 3 one comes out. And then I think Tuesday nights we might give a couple of the Super Formula rounds a go.
Why not? If the opportunity presents itself and the times are available to you, go your hardest. I look forward to seeing you throughout the course of the term, mate. Thanks for stopping on by and waiting around tonight for us.
Awesome, thank you.
First to the Fords home. He wasn't the only Ford out there, of course. Chuk Fung Wong also in a Ford. Jake Jackson in a Ford. He was the second retirement of the night. Eli Donaldson in the McLaren the first. Colby Cowan, a non-starter in the Ford as well. To Dylan Walker, Connor Nixon, and Drew Hanstein now. Guys, thanks for sticking around. Connor, I'm coming to you in a tick. Dylan, well done firstly on the results in Pro-Am, mate. We had those results up on screen a few moments ago. We didn't get a chance to, and apologies too, because Kevin Henderson was sitting in here in race control, but he said in the commentary box from race control, but he sent himself out, so we'll catch up with Hendo later in the week. We didn't obviously get to see your race, so we need you guys to fill in the pieces for us, paint the picture. What were your thoughts on that 90 minutes and how it played out from your standpoint, mate?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough race. Me and Drew were pretty well battling the whole way. I think we were within 3 seconds of each other the whole time. So yeah, it was very close between us. We managed to break away from the rest of the field as well. So yeah, it was pretty solid run.
Did it make up for the frustration that was the LMP2 earlier in the night at Indianapolis?
Yeah, it was a bit of a redemption. I feel like a bit of a spud after that one. Threw away a pretty good result. I was following, I think it was Noble into the pit lane, and he blinded where the pit marker, like the pit lane entry is, and it just went a little bit too fast over the line and got myself a 40-second hold.
Yeah, we knew something wasn't quite right, and don't feel too bad because you had 3 other drivers across the 2 broadcast races tonight go out in sympathy with you and cop the same treatment, so wasn't all bad. Circuit de la South, it's a challenge at the best of times, as you say. Probably more fun that you've got someone to go toe-to-toe with. It's a very lonely drive around on your own. But talk me through, because, again, we've only seen the results there. So did you follow the bulk and go with the McLaren, or did you drive something else?
Yeah, I was in the McLaren. Split the Pro-Am split was actually pretty mixed, which was nice. I think there were only a few of us in the McLaren, which was good. But yeah, the pace felt solid. The car was a bit twitchy through the Porsche curbs, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, and it's funny how many different cars and manufacturers and drivers say that about the Porsche curves. Hey, why the McLaren? Because I know, there's 9 different cars there for the taking. The McLaren seems to be, everybody's preference, particularly in the Pro split, because bright, new, shiny toys are hard to resist. But did you do some testing with that and some other cars, or were you sold on the McLaren from the outset?
No testing. I've done a fair bit of racing in the other GT3s, picked up the McLaren and just wanted to get some mileage in it, get my money's worth out of it was the main idea.
And it seems like you've already done that, and one night of the term is done. Obviously, one of the other things that will happen, and you know this, being a club regular, and our audience at home will know this as well, there was an enormous amount of interest in Pro-Am tonight, because that's the default position for newbies to GT3 on the platforms, the GSRC. So anybody that hasn't already been assigned a class goes there, and we may see a couple of people moved from Pro-Am to either Pro or Am as the term unfolds. If you get promoted at any point to play with the big boys in Pro, mate, would you welcome that challenge?
Yeah, I'd definitely give it a shake. I don't think I've got the pace of the boys at the front, but I'm happy to pot around in the midfield.
And what were your thoughts on the calendar, firstly? Because Indianapolis is next stop. Obviously, you've had a run in there in LMP2 tonight, but totally different car for that circuit.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty looking forward to the calendar. I think the only one on there that I'm not too keen on is Fuji, but yeah, the rest of it looks pretty mint.
You'll probably be sitting back at Denchi's place having a cold one, because he looks like he's going to use that as a drop round as well. Hey, LMP2, is that going to be a regular commitment for you this term?
I want to make the Radicals the main focus for this season. I'm pretty keen on them. I did a pre-season race with a couple of guys, and it was really good racing, so I'm looking to replicate that for the rest of the season.
And what else are you going to have a crack at?
Yeah, I'll give the GT3s a red hot crack. That'd be probably my second priority over the P2. Yeah, no, it's been good racing so far, so hopefully we can keep that going.
GT4, Porsches, anything else, or just those two on a Monday night?
It'll just be the Mondays and Fridays, unfortunately. Got a pretty busy...
All good, all good. And we know what it's like, mate. Into the 19th season we go. Work and life away from the sim rig. It's only getting busier for all and sundry. Hey, well done tonight. Solid start of the season. Look forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the balance of it, mate. Go well.
Cheers, mate.
Drew, welcome aboard. New name, as I said. There's a few new names floating around the club at the start of the new term. So well done on hitting the ground running. Second, in what Dylan described as a fairly good contest.
Yeah, no, it was pretty spicy there, just having him buzz around my bunghole for a fair while. Quite annoying. No, I ended up getting it on pole and wasn't quite sure how it would pan out. Wondering if they were going to fuel save behind us or what. I just went in with it being an hour and a half sprint race. I didn't worry about any of that, but probably should have at the end. I was lifting and coasting for the last part of the final lap behind Dylan.
Are you running the McLaren as well, or have you strayed in a different direction?
Picked the BMW. It's a bit of a stable table and something that gels with me. It's probably not the fastest car, but it's a consistent car.
David Johnson has just jumped in the GT3 chat thread and said he's Porsche. It's heading to the bin. He's not happy with it at the moment, is Jono. He had a spin that we captured on replay here a short while ago, ladies and gentlemen. So there'll be a few people licking their wounds tonight. Interesting that you've gone the Bimmer, because they were few and far between in the pro split, but they are a proven performer, and I think the key word there is versatile across all different circuits. And it's interesting, isn't it? At the start of the season, we always have this discussion. Yes, if there's a new bright, shiny toy, you expect it to have a presence on the grid, but you've also got to pick a car that's A, going to work for you, the driver, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's got to be comfortable, and B, going to suit the schedule that awaits us. So let me ask you this. The BMW throughout the course of the season, you're hoping will serve you well, but did you have a look at elsewhere and do testing in any other car before you made the decision?
I think I fired up the Mercedes for about 3 minutes. Didn't enjoy it. I did do a couple of laps in the McLaren, the new toy, and it was faster than BMW. It took me a couple of official races during the week to extract the pace from the Beamer, and yeah, but not really. I sort of got bitten back at the Spa 24 when we went with the Ford, the big boat of a thing, and sort of regretted that. So sort of went back to what I knew. If I felt like if I was going to be competitive, I'll be competitive in a car that I enjoy.
Tell us the Drew Hanstein story. What's your sim racing background? Because as I say, it's a new name to us here on the platforms of the GSRC. It's the first time I've seen you in our booth, so it begs the question: what's the sim racing background, and how have you landed here?
Well, it was probably about 4 or so years ago. A few of us were playing Forza, so built a wooden rig back on the Logitechs, 55-inch TV, that sort of thing. Played around with the Seto Corsa, found a little league there, shout out to the ORL boys. Did that for a few years and then got sort of introduced to iRacing, and what an addiction. And straight into that, and then started playing around with special events and stuff like that. And up until recently, sort of been playing with our friends, with our community, and that's sort of gone on the wayside. I was looking for personal development and potentially larger grids and more people to race, and I sort of had seen this in the past, and I did try out another league last Monday before this started, and I've picked this one. This one looks fantastic, and yeah, we've ended up here. I'm still sitting in the wooden rig, but it's version 1.9.
Oh, very nice. I like the progress update reports on that. That's a nice touch of attention to detail. And isn't it interesting too? So many of us can relate to the fact that the sim racing involvement kind of stems back to COVID. How many people, like the sim racing community, whether it was a Ciders, whether it was GT, whether it was iRacing, whatever, that whole caper just grew in stature, in size, in presence, in prominence, in spades, in droves during the pandemic. As I said, there's only really two sides of society that benefited from that. One was the pharmaceuticals, and one was sim racing, because it was about the only thing to do while we're locked up on some sort of house arrest for months and weeks and days on end. Hey, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season, and will we see you ply your trade in something else away from GT3, mate? Because as you say, you've seen what we offer here. We've got GT4, we've got Porsche, we've got other cars, other championships. Have you had a look at the schedule? Have you made some decisions on what you might do on any other night of the week?
Mate, I'd love to participate every single night, but
That's it.
but I've got a young family, and this is sort of the night that's been penciled in. That's
it.
For us, and maybe on the Friday nights I was eyeing off the radicals, or I could do what Dylan did and maybe jump in the P2 before the GT3 race. That's another car that tickles my fancy.
Just leverage another extra hour of free time on a Monday night. I don't mind the idea. The LMP2 grid does need to grow in size a little bit, actually. It was a little bit lackluster tonight. I mean, great action, but certainly lacking on the number side. Hey, mate, I'm looking at the clock. It's 11:15. We won't hold you up much longer. Thank you very much for jumping in and having a chat to us. Well done on the result tonight. Looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the rest of the campaign. Starting with, on the way out, Indianapolis next week, and I'd love your thoughts on that as you go.
I've never raced there. I downloaded it yesterday, so I'll have to do some sighting laps and figure out how to go about it all. I did watch it at the NASCAR and Brody Kostecki and that sort of race there, and that's all I know of it.
So a busy week ahead learning the Brickyard, the road course at the Brickyard at least. Ready for next week, mate. Enjoy that. Good luck.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers.
Connor Dixon, last but certainly not least. Good evening to you. Actually, it's only just evening over there in WA, of course. Next week it'll be afternoon by the time we're having this chat. Of course. Yes. How are you, mate? Going well?
Yeah, going well, mate. Came off a pretty good weekend, and yeah, just thought I'd hop in and learn the GT3s this season, GT4s. So yeah, this is a whole new start, really.
Indeed, but not a bad start, Connor. I mean, lucky seventh in the end. The first non-McLaren home. There's a lot to be happy about with regards to that result. However, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Dimitri Agathos pipped you. He had 12 positions gained. You were the biggest mover of the night until the final sector of the final lap. Dimitri got by Adam Burhop, our good old mate in the BMW, and that gave him plus 12. So you missed out on a couple of bonus points, and you can thank Adam Burhop for that.
Yeah, no, it was a long way to get up the front. It was it was hard work. It was You know, I think when you go outside of your car, it's a lot harder to, you know, I think when you go from a supercar, which is obviously on the right-hand side, you know, my mate was in my ear who drives this car all the time, like he's 7K and, you know, and I-rating and drives the thing all the time. And he's like, oh, use more curb. And I'm like, where is this curb? Like, I can't even see it. So it was just a new experience, but yeah, I loved it. And yeah, thought I'd jump in the Merc because, yeah, that's what I'm driving in the GT4. So yeah.
Very nicely done. So, all right. So, let me ask you this: why the Merc in GT4 and why the Merc here? Because, as you see, I mean, you would have got sick of the side of McLarens tonight. They were all around you, left, right, and centre.
Yeah, well, like you said, you know, with a lot of people, you know, you got to pick a car for the whole season. So, it was kind of one of those things where I thought, if I'm going to pick a car, I'm going to pick a car that I'm comfortable with. It's a front engine. A lot of noise, so I'm used to that, and it's on the left-hand side, and I've always kind of eyed off the car, so yeah, it's just, you know, one of those different cars. And knew the McLaren's going to be the high pick, but it's probably going to get bopped to smithereens in a couple of weeks, so I thought I'm not really going to go that direction. And yeah, like I said, I'm in GT4s and that, so it's kind of like, well, it's going to be the car of the season.
All right, very nicely done. So GT3 and GT4, anything else?
Yeah, I was thinking about the V8s, but I'm going to give it a miss. Just going to focus on the Scops Endurance coming up. So,
Yep.
Yeah, just kind of stay out of that car for a while and just focus on Gen 3 when it comes out.
And 18th in quali, that gave you a little bit of room to make up, and at least, okay. So, firstly, what happened in qualifying, and secondly, how easy or how difficult was it to, throughout the course of 90 minutes, slowly but surely make your way forward?
Yeah, it was. Qualifying was an interesting one. I didn't have much of a tow at all. I think the closest I got to a car was about 3 to 2 seconds. So. It was, yeah, it wasn't too great there. I was just trying to get used to the car. A mate of mine sent me a setup. So yeah, it was very loose through the Porsche curbs and just trying to figure out what I could take of the curbs. So a lot of learning and qualifying. And yeah, just a pretty crappy driving from me, really. Normally, I've got some pretty high standards to live up to, but yeah, tonight was a bit of a try and figure it all out in an hour and a half. So yeah, it was interesting, but then got into the race and I felt a lot more comfortable, started pushing a lot more, did a couple of dives on a few people. I don't think they were happy about it, but yeah, I'll have to work on that.
Indeed. Wouldn't be like you to come into a serious bit of business of GSRC racing and ruffle feathers. Connor, what are you talking about?
No, that would never be me. No. Why would I do that? But no, it was.
I'm not quite sure, quite frankly.
Not at all. But yeah, look, it's it was good fun. So yeah.
All right, mate. Hey, quickly, because again, I said off the top rather confidently, I said welcome to 3.5 hours, and I said you know, I had good justification for saying that off the top. I knew that we'd be here till at least 11 o'clock, and here we are pushing 11:30. Now, with regards to next week, let's worry about GT4 when we get there on Thursday night. Next week, Indianapolis, 60 minutes. Your initial thoughts?
Yeah, it should be good fun. I know Drop Bear has some really good miles on that track. Not in this car, but just on that track in general. We did the 6 hour there this year, and yeah, all of our cars were in Euro split, and actually one of them got into top split Euro, so in the GT3. So hopefully I can take some notes from the team and learn off them. I'm going to be really just learning this season. So hopefully Indianapolis gives me that little bit of a buffer to get up the front a little bit more, and yeah, hopefully I can just figure out the car a little bit more. But yeah, I like Indianapolis as a track. Yeah, did the hypercar around there, raced the supercar around there. Too many laps to be honest to count. So yeah, it should be quite good to go and drive around and hopefully be up there with the top three. Saw Benefield, he was an old teammate, so yeah, it should be good to be up the front with him and have a good battle with him.
Indeed, and I mean the 9-5 stable grows with Benefield. The Drop Bear stable grows. We've seen a couple of teams merge with other teams to build super teams. We know that Whiskey Business will grow at some point. We're just waiting for Greg Heaney's invoice checkbook, his new one, to arrive in the mail because he ran out of paper. He ran out of slips on the previous one. He was signing up drivers nightly last term. So we're looking forward to seeing what comes of the next few weeks. Indianapolis next stop, mate. Go and get some sleep. Thanks for that. Go well. We'll catch up on Thursday.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll watch the broadcast back. Always good fun. Thanks, boys.
Indeed. Actually, to be honest with you, I think the post-race show tonight gave a little bit more substance than some of the racing, quite frankly. That being said, the last lap here in GT3 Pro certainly well and truly made up for that. Gomez, Benefield and Mitchum fighting it out, duking it out right until the death. That was really good stuff. It's always entertaining when there's 3 drivers fighting for 2 spots on the podium. One's always going to head on home with the tail dangling between the legs. We ran out of paint as well. Yes. Hello, Dave Oliver. Nice to have you on board, mate. Well done on your LMP2 result as well, mate. I didn't actually see how you went in GT3. Let's remind you that we do this Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. We do it with thanks to these people. None of this is possible without the input and involvement, association and support, ongoing sponsorship and involvement of Waste Options, of Spreyton Cider, of merch.tgsrci.com, of Orbic Australia, our new sponsor, JJZ Constructions, M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics. So huge thanks to all of them. How good does the Flash Graphics logo look? That is phenomenal. That is top shelf stuff. I'm gonna have to pick Simpson's brain with regards to getting some personalised branding in the paintwork of Flash Graphics. That is just terrific stuff. Let's remind you all as well that without any of them and without the ongoing involvement and support of the tireless work of the committee that work behind the scenes, and of course drivers continuing to sign up for memberships and turn up in droves to go racing, none of this happens. It's a pleasure to be here and do it for you each Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday night throughout the course of the term. I know Adam Lavis feels the same way. We've had a good start and it gives us something to build upon throughout the course of the remaining 9 Monday nights of the 2024 GSRC season. Now, before we have a look at what's coming your way across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, wanted to go back and cover off a couple of things here with regards to this GT3 race. I mean, you're watching Connor Nixon there on screen at the moment. Bad luck, obviously, fell the way of Rain Campbell and Jackson Dyer. But then you take into consideration that Mikey Hammond, Matt Distill, who was race winner in LMP2, that Jake Jackson, a top 10 runner, and Eli Donaldson, that's a regular up the pointy end, top 10, 15. Take those guys and put them back into the equation, and yeah, the level of the competitiveness, the challenge of the task, just, you know, it intensifies, it increases, because you're earning your stripes in this caper because some of the best in the business are plying their trade here. So put them into the fight, and by gee, we're going to have some good on-track battles right up and down the field throughout the course of the season. And Adam Lavis, just one comment from you before we wrap up and get out of here. We may as well. We're going to get up to 11:30, I think, by the time I've run through the schedule for the week. But the numbers tonight across the 3 splits. The last I heard, we had about 110 in total drivers on track in GT3 tonight.
Yeah, something like that. There was 51 in Pro-Am, and then you got your 30 something in Pro, and I think mid 20s something in the Am. That being said, though, I'm just working out now. I've got in the Pro-Am, I've got 5 going to Pro, 2 staying, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 I think going to Am. So
Oh wow!
there's a lot of shaking going on, but yeah, there'll still be. You get a bit. The fact is that we've got 9 going in. It's going to be good to see that the AM guys are going to have a bigger field than normal. So they're going to have a mid 20s to low, sort of mid 20s to mid 30s sort of range rather than the low 20s they normally get. So as much as it is designed to be a bit more of a learning classing, them guys can have a race without the fast guys breathing down the necks. They'll actually have should theoretically have a lot more people around them at the same pace to help themselves improve.
Indeed, and on that
No
subject,
pace.
hello, Parry. No, you won't be. Sorry, mate. Too much real-world experience on your part to be getting dropped down to AM, I would have thought. Nice try, though. Points for effort. Well done. The interesting thing is when you have a look at the points tables, folks, and we'll bring them up next week, it's just going to be a sea of orange in the manufacturer column in Pro. What was that? 2 to Pro? So there'll be 1 and 2 from Pro Am, 2 to Pro, and 9 to Am.
From Pro, there's 5 up, 2 staying.
5 up. Right, 2 staying and 9 going down to M.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of new faces on the GT3 grid to start with.
Still lose 40 odd in the AMS race. So.
Yep. Extraordinary stuff. Wow. The AM field's almost going to double, be 1.5 times as big as what it was tonight next week, and somewhat double the size of what it was for much of last term.
And also, I'm about to do that a little bit tricky because we've implemented a new rule this season with the new people coming in. When they do leave, I actually reshuffle the Pro Am results so that only the Pro Am guys get their positions. So if the top 3 were being moved to Pro because they're new, those positions will be vacant, and the next 3 will move up to first, second, third in the points positions for the championship. So just to give the actual Pro Am guys a bit more of a fair shot at their titles.
Okay, so God. You've just made more work for yourself, haven't you?
Well, yeah, no. This week will be because there's a lot of guys, but the preceding weeks it should only be like a couple of drivers here and there, so it won't be that much problem. With
and what does it mean for the guys that race tonight in Pro Am that are going to race next week? Does that formula change or stay the same in terms of do they take any sort of points with them, merit with them, credit with them?
So the guys moving up, that system doesn't change. They take the percentage of points with them. So if they'll take. I think when they go up, they take 50% points up. When you go down, you get 150% points worth your points down because the higher series would be harder to get points type thing. So the people moving, their system doesn't change. They still move. It's just the people once they get moved out, it's the Pro Am guys that are staying. Will then all domino up the grid to get the actual. As if it was a class race type thing. So they all move up in their class to get their class results for the night.
So that's going to obviously change the shape and the course of those championships throughout the course of the season because every point is so vital. And we've seen that before. So looking forward to seeing what impact that has going forward.
Yeah. So just for a quick example of that, so Gavin Simpson goes from 3rd on track to 1st for the night for Pro Am, for example. But the Dylan or Daniel, or whatever that guy that got first, he still gets the half points of 50 up to Pro. So he'll take 45 points with him up to Pro, and starts somewhere near the top 10, and then he's off and run to the races from there.
Matty Dench on 91 points, Mark Gomez 84, Daniel Benefield 73, Richard Mitchum 67, and Shane Clancy 64 points at the end of the opening round of GT3 for waste options in the Pro division at least. We're well and truly overtime, so I won't muck around. Let's get out of here by reminding you of what's to come as far as the opening week of Term 4 is concerned. Night 2 is not broadcast, but 3, 4, and 5 are introductory formula from the Circuit de Lebanon in France. So another French flavour. This time to Tuesday night motorsport into the entree slot, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 3 sprint races there, followed by at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Remember, all these times switch to daylight saving time next week too, folks, Eastern Daylight Time. Silverstone for 40 minutes, so back to the sacred turf of success and glory for the GSRC in the Super Formula Light Cinter Club Challenge that we had with the guys from SRW and the Australian Open World Nationals. We are going to pick up where we left off with them tomorrow night, 40 minutes the journey, 9:15 p.m. The scene of the crime, the scene of one of the landmark days in the club's history, and a crowning moment in Sam Chapman's sim racing career. There's no doubt about that. 9:15 tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Liam Banks and Sam Chapman with you, actually, on that note. Worldwide Technology Raceway, better known as Gateway, of course, in Illinois, in St. Louis. 60 laps the race there. 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, the race getting underway. Then we go on to the opening sprint round of the Supercar Series, Super 2. In fact, Willow Springs International from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night, making note that all these race starts are a little bit like the main course start times are 15 minutes later than what they were last term to compensate for that time discrepancy we're going to have with the East and West Coast from next week. So 8:45 becomes 9 p.m, 8:30 becomes 8:45, etc. So Willow Springs International on Wednesday night. We return there for the start of Thursday night motorsport and the return of GT4 to the entree slot. Join Daniel Correa, Sarah and I for that. 2 sprint races, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, immediately followed by a trip to Sebring for the Porsche Cup. The opening round of the campaign, minus M. Dench. 60 minutes of the journey there from Sebring, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday night, the Radicals get their campaign underway with 2 sprint races from 8:30 Eastern Standard Time from the famed Summit Point Raceway. Then we go on to the start or the resumption of Mountain Men from Mount Panorama Bathurst, Saturday night, 32 laps the journey there. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Formula Renault 2.0 machines, of course, formerly seen in introductory Formula last term, of course. And then we get stuck into the daylight saving portion of the term, the final 9 weeks. Hello, Queensland, start winding your clocks back now. Approximately 112 years and 1 hour. LMP2 challenge first up, the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps, 30 minutes. The journey there, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Then on to Waste Options GT3 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course over 60 minutes from 8:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're looking forward to that immensely. We hope you are as well. Good start of the season. McLaren dominating in GT Pro. We've got a lot to look forward to here throughout the course of the season. Can anyone stop Denchi from locking out 3 calendar years and securing title number 12? Only time will tell. There's all the ingredients there to suggest that there are some genuine contenders that are up for the challenge and the fight that awaits them. But they've got to overcome one of the greats of the GT3 caper in Matty Dench if they are to achieve glory, and they've got to hit all their markers and they cannot afford any hiccups along the way. There was certainly one tonight for Jackson Dye. He certainly was kicking his own backside over that one. Let's hope he's not doing too much more of that throughout the course of the rest of the campaign. Sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it. Quick mention too, I reneged to mention it and I do apologise. Expert comments on Thursday night. I'm going to have an offsider. Daniel Benefield's going to jump in, so it'll be the Zach and Daniel show, but it'll be 2 times Daniel because Korea Saar will be producing the broadcast and Benefield's going to be in here after a good showing tonight in GT3. Can't wait to get his thoughts on that, but he's going to jump in and co-commentate with me. I'll do play-by-play, he'll do the follow. So Lee Diffie, Little Crompton sort of stuff. That will be on Thursday night. He'll be joining me for GT4 and the Porsches. Looking forward to having his company and yours as well. And I mentioned Lee Diffie there a moment ago. Can I just say a big thanks to Daniel because he sent the clip of the Indianapolis 500 finish into iRacing, and you may have seen it throughout the course of the break, folks. I woke up to notifications galore from people I hadn't heard from for yonks on Thursday morning saying, have you seen this? You're on iRacing. They actually, on the iRacing official socials, they put that last lap highlight reel on there. And if you look in the comments, people thought I was Lee Diffie. So I'm going to take that. That is going to be the story that I dine out on for the next 6 years, most likely. Getting compared to one of the greats of motorsport commentary. There's no doubt about that. That is a feather in the cap. We are going to leave you on that note, ladies and gentlemen. Sincerely hope you've enjoyed the first edition of Monday Night Motorsport for Term 4 of 2024. Night 1 of Week 1 is done. Still 9 weeks and 4 days where that came from, and we're looking forward to bringing most of it to you here on the platforms of the GSRC. September done and dusted. School holidays done and dusted for Queenslanders, but still ongoing for New South Wales. Enjoy what's left of that. Enjoy what's left of September, ladies and gentlemen. About 25 minutes here on the East Coast and 2 hours 25 on the West Coast. You're already into October in New Zealand. The racing continues here on the platforms of the GSRC. Once we tick over to October 1, and we look forward to your company on Wednesday night with Liam and Samuel, Thursday night with the two Daniels and yours truly as week 1 continues. Until then, for the team from here, we're Matt Schmidtke and Matt Dench. It was the Matt Show. Schmidtke winning LMP2 and Dench winning GT3 Pro. I'm Zach Caban until we see you on Thursday night, and the rest of the crew on... Sorry? Oh, Matt... No, sorry. No, yes, correct. Thank you. 4 hours, and I still can't get it right. Matt Distill, of course. And I've got Matt Schmidtke's name right here in front of me on my totem pole. That's why I've cocked that up. My apologies. So, yes, Matt Distill, too good in LMP2. Matt Dench, too good in GT3 Pro. Matt's left, right, and centre. Adam Lavis and I are out of here to go and get some sleep. I'm going to go and watch Home and Away, actually. On behalf of the crew here, thanks for your company, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And we look forward to your company on Wednesday night. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.